maybe y'all can tell me whether so you just said it's going live already?
Yeah, I didn't realize I hadn't started it yet. It's just now started
Okay.
broadcasting.
All right. Are you gonna do your normal intro or do we?
I guess so. It's meme time. I just not prepared. It's
Uh,
meme time. We're just taking some time to talk about meme ideas and stuff.
okay.
Ideas and
Um.
stuff.
We're
All
watching
right.
an episode of The Simpsons, and I'm not prepared, and that's probably a good time to just watch an episode of something and comment on it. Oh, meme time. It's meme time.
Okay.
And we're live. It's meme time.
Yeah. All right. So.
Episode 30, everybody. This is our 30th episode. Who knew we'd make it this far?
Okay.
God damn, that's a lot of episodes, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
It only took us, I think, 3 years to make 30 episodes.
10 a year. That's not bad. One every 36 and a half days. Okay.
Wow, you know math, bro.
Uh-huh.
You're like a math wizard. You're out doing a meme time on your math skill.
Yeah, I can do that all in my head. All right, so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be watching an episode of The Simpsons, a new episode of The Simpsons, online together, and we're going. So the episode that we're going to be watching it on Fox.com, so you can follow along with us, follow along with the broadcast and see what we're seeing.
Just make sure that you sync it up exactly when we say "and go."
Yeah,
or
exactly.
else you won't be following along exactly where we are.
Exactly. So the episode we're going to be watching is called Bull E.
Because it's electronic.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, I already, without having seen it yet, I already understand the premise. I'm pretty sure I understand the premise of it, and probably
It's a really good title.
I'm guessing there's some moral message about legislation against people bullying online or something ridiculous like that.
So you would think.
No, that's not actually right.
Okay, I'll hold back then. Any further comments until I actually see it.
Okay, so what? All right, so I've already watched this episode, so I'm wanting. Oh my god. So I'm wanting Champ and Chris. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm wanting Champ and Chris to kind of be my second pair of eyes and ears and see if they can if they agree with what I'm seeing. But basically, so first of all, Champ and Chris, do you have are y'all on Fox.com? Are y'all already?
I'm working on it.
I'm loaded up. Is that the link to send out for people to watch this?
Yeah, the link I just posted is the YouTube link. Yes.
Cool.
That is live as we speak.
I'm gonna tweet at some peeps. Is that what we call it? Tweet peeps at some tweets.
All right. So if y'all can get into I guess The Simpsons and get it started, because you'll have to probably start an ad before it starts up and stuff like that, so we can get all synced up here. But I'll basically, so just to give kind of a rundown, what me and my brother, of course, were big fans of The Simpsons back in the past when it was. Yes, big fans of The Simpsons back in the past when it was a really good show. Neither one of us like it now. Chris, from what you were saying earlier, it sounds like you weren't a huge fan, but you kind of watched it occasionally, and
You weren't a huge fan, right? You are a huge fan now, right?
Yes, Chris loves it now. No,
not the now episodes. I mean, having matured more and watching seasons 3 through 9, you realize how amazing they are, right?
No.
What?
It doesn't matter. We don't need to
Well,
get into that.
hold on. Just, since I just read the description of it, and I wanted to at least point out that, at least in my opinion, Simpsons is one of the funniest TV shows I've ever seen.
I'm going to dispute 3 through 9 and say 3 through 8 are the key scenes.
Well, are like the classic ones, but I mean, I'd say 9 into 10 is when you could noticeably see that it was going downhill.
Yeah, I would say, in my opinion, season 9, at the very beginning of season 9 was the last episode of season 8 was the last good episode, in my opinion, and season 9 is when it started going downhill. But anyways,
all I was gonna say is since I wanted to bring up the fact that I think the old stuff is amazing, and I read the description for this episode, which says Marge convinces the town to pass anti-bullying legislation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on the episode where they try to go after immigrants, and they first blame it on the bear tax, and Lisa says, "That's specious. I don't see any bears around. The bear tax must be working." And Homer says, or Lisa says, "That's specious reasoning, Dad." And he says, "Why, thank you, honey." And she says, "That's like saying this rock that I have keeps away tigers." And he goes, "How do you figure? There aren't any tigers around, right?" And Homer says,
"Okay,
Lisa, I'd like to buy your rock."
Okay, so anyway,
and then later Moe says, "Immigrants. Even when it was the bears, I knew it was the immigrants."
Yeah. Okay, so yes, all right. Simpsons has become kind of a repeating of itself, as I think what Champ was trying to get there. They, but the more specifically what I saw. So I occasionally, and I think Champ, you said you did this too. I occasionally like to check back in and see if maybe they've turned things around. I'll occasionally see something on Reddit where somebody says something like, "Oh, the show's finally gotten back on track, and this season, if you watch this episode, it's good," and stuff like that. And it never is, in my opinion. It never has gotten back on track. But what I've noticed in some of the recent episodes are what, in my opinion, seem like kind of very conservative, like almost crazily on the nose conservative messages. There's a lot of what seems like army recruitment stuff, like joining the army is good. It'll be a home for you and stuff like that. There's things like that, and there's also stuff in this particular episode, like Champ said, it's about an episode where anti-bullying legislation is passed, and it basically seems to be an episode that kind of what I gathered is something. It seems like it's kind of like preparing almost you for this. The government can kind of get away with doing whatever it wants and arresting you for any minor infraction, stuff like that. And again, so this is one of the things, why I wanted Chris and Champ to watch it too, is because, like, to get a second sort of set of eyes. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Maybe it's not actually that. Maybe it's making fun of all of that, and I'm reading too much into it. But like I was talking to Chris and I were having lunch earlier, and like I was talking to him, and he kind of mentioned something. I'll let you talk about the Josie and the Pussycats thing to kind of compare it to this. But like Chris was saying earlier to me, it's something. It seems more not like they're making fun of it, but like they're kind of like almost acting like they're making fun of it, but really kind of getting you to accept this idea of almost like the government can go crazy and do whatever it wants, and you should just follow along with it. And it's like they're kind of doing like a tongue-in-cheek, like we're making fun of it, but we're not really. We're kind of accepting it. So I don't know, and I'm gonna let Champ and Chris watch it with me, and we'll pause it along the way and see what they want. But Chris, talk about the Josie and the Pussycats thing real quick.
Well, I mean, I'll let you do that in 1 second. All I was gonna interject with was, I mean, they do that. They do that in a lot of media. Like, I even found yesterday. This guy I just met, like, just recently became friends with, he has a bunch of really old matchbook cases, and one of them has a little, like, kind of like buy X-ray vision glasses, like little nickel send in for, like, this thing, and it's called, like, Hollywood, it's like West Hollywood or something like that. Like, it's for Hollywood, and they're saying, like, if you send a picture into Hollywood, we'll give you an enlargement. And, like, you send in a picture of yourself, and it also requests, in addition to the picture itself, your eye color, hair color, like, build, and clothes you normally wear. Like, from 1905, and it's, like, asking for you to profile yourself.
So you're pretty much just giving them the profile of who you are, sort of?
Mm-hmm.
All right. But Chris, talk about the Josie and the Pussycats thing real quick, because I thought that was interesting.
So for me, it's almost like a pacifying of your brain, so that when you're actually confronted with something in the real world, you just sort of laugh it off as a joke. And how I think it works with Josie and the Pussycats. If you've ever seen the movie,
I haven't. I haven't. So Chris, what? So I
yeah,
don't
so the
know.
movie is basically all about, if memory serves me correctly, this band who is put together, sort of formed to become like super celebrities, and it's all tongue in cheek, and it's supposed to be like, oh, we're actually critiquing how the cycle of music actually works today, and the entire way through, they use real like MTV stars like back in the day, like Carson, what was that fucker's
Carson
name?
Daly.
Carson Daly, yeah. They use all of those people, and it's all like making fun of MTV, but at the same time, it's sort of making it so that when you get mad about someone complaining about MTV being like that, you'll just sort of laugh it off because you're like, no, MTV's smart. They make fun of themselves, and that makes it okay. So it's like this whole, no, it's no longer, no, this is actually happening. No, they're aware of it, and therefore it's a joke, and they're in on the joke with you. Like those old Sprite commercials, right? Where they'd be like, it's all about the taste, not about the celebrity. But they still had a celebrity saying it.
And like there's like a money counter in the
Yeah.
bottom right corner that's going up as he says it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that reminded me when Chris said that there's an episode of The Simpsons where they have subliminal. They have Bart joins a boy band. This was kind of after The Simpsons started going bad, and they had a song called "Even at Niage," which was "Join the Navy backwards." And they were making a joke like the Navy was using boy bands to recruit people. They had subliminal marketing, liminal marketing, and superliminal marketing, which is where they just yell out to people, "Hey, join the Navy" and stuff like that. But and even now, like kind of what Chris is saying, in some of these, I don't think there's any on this episode. We could maybe, if we want to watch another episode real quick, or like watch a small part of another episode after we watch this one, we could maybe see it, because I think the next one in the series has some of this. But there's like I said, very blatant like joining the army is good messages that are in some of these episodes and stuff like that. So it almost seems like kind of The Simpsons did kind of what Chris was describing with Josie and the Pussycats, of like disarming you against their message and then, pounding it forward. So anyways, I don't know. I guess we can. This is probably a good time to start the episode, and we can see.
I mean, they do that in all kinds of media too. Like, I mean, on 24, they had a black president right before Obama was elected president.
Mm-hmm.
And that made that show, massive. That was like one of the biggest hyped shows.
And it did also. I mean, I guess if you wanted to look at it, that show kind of gets you into the.
It also glamorized like
fighting terrorism and stuff like that.
Torture works. Did you see it in 24?
Mm-hmm.
Jack Bauer wouldn't just like actually have a conversation.
And that is a Fox. That is a Fox show too.
Well, I mean, but other stuff, other channels do that and stuff. I mean, like, I don't have a problem with this one, but like, I mean, Modern Family. It's called Modern Family, and they have a gay couple as one of the families. It's acclimatizing you to people who aren't okay with what.
Yeah, it's exactly what you're saying. I was just agreeing with acclimatizing you to what the culture is becoming.
Yeah, it's being like. Well, and the only other thing I was gonna say is on another episode, like depending on how far you want to go, like whenever you dig into like conspiracy theories, there's a whole bunch of people who have like gone over in great depth like anything conspiracy like in The Simpsons, and the only one I remember off the top of my head is that on the episode, this is right when the Simpsons started going downhill too, where they go to New York.
That's the first episode of the 9th season.
Okay.
That's the one. That's the one where I think that it starts.
Yeah,
that's
where it starts going down. That episode's still funny, but yeah, it's when it starts going downhill. But yeah, when they go to New York to get the boot off the car, and when Bart holds up the bus pass for them to go to New York, it says 9/11 on it and shows the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
It's all of it, in my opinion, is something that I would call like soft satire, where it's like easy to consume and you think you're learning something and you laugh. But if you're not critical of it and you don't like try to understand the intention of it, it can be kind of dangerous because like real satire should make you feel queasy, right? Like you don't read like Jonathan Swift and like a modest proposal and go, just joking about eating babies. It's like detailed and it makes you kind of feel sick about the idea of the concept that's at hand. And South Park, I think, has some pretty hard satire. Like they make you feel uncomfortable when you watch it. When it's soft, you laugh at it, and you're not sure at the end of the day if that laughter is disarming you to not thinking about it when it pops up in the real world. You're like, it's a joke. Everyone knows it's a joke, and no one would take that seriously. Or if in reality, it's being taken seriously because of like pluralistic ignorance. We all think that we're all going to stop it if it happened, and we just don't do anything because it's funny. We've all seen The Simpsons, and we're not going to worry about it. So.
Yeah. I mean, like with 24, with like glamorizing the war on terror, you talk to someone now, the average person about about how destructive the war on terror is. They're like, "What are you talking about? It's awesome! Like we go fight evil people all over the world. Like we go kill people."
I don't know if that's true. That the average person thinks that. I think there's a subset of the population that probably feels that way, but I feel like. I mean, to be fair, I'm kind of, I think Champ's kind of more in the conspiracy theory bubble of the internet, where I'm more in like the liberal Reddit corner of the internet, where everybody's like, everybody's like, Bush, Bush is like.
That's just from reading Facebook. Like, if I go read Facebook.
But to be fair, I think
even if it links to like Huffington Post.
He's saying your friends are conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, even if I go to a Huffington Post link that is news of the day or whatever, and the comment section on like Huffington Post, half the people will be like, "Oh, Bush's son of a bitch that sent us into Iraq and started this war on terror," and the other half of people are like, "What are you talking about? Like, we have to stop ISIS."
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. There is a subset of population that takes up both. That's why I just don't. I would say it's not the average person, because like you said, it's like half the people are like Bush is the worst person of all time, and half the people are like Bush is the one who got us going on this good track.
If half and half, wouldn't the average person be both?
Yes.
good rebuttal there, Will. No, I'm saying you're wrong. It's not the average person.
You fell right into my trap.
It's just like half. Right. Only half. Only half is like that.
Well, but if half of the people aren't like that,
you're such a Rotten Tomatoes guy. If it's not 80 or 90%, then it's not good.
Yeah, but the
90% is average.
Only 90% of the population has to be bad before I start making a stink.
If
only half of the population's bad, then I'm fine with it.
But since, as we're pointing out, the media blasts out the message that they want to give to people, then it's probably at least 51%, probably more like 60 to 70% of people who just accept what they're told.
Okay, fine. I'm sorry.
He's accepting what he was just told by you. I'm not going to, just to make sure we make the 51%.
I was gonna say, we can end the show now that I won the show.
You won an argument. Well, we haven't watched the episode yet. That's the whole point of the episode. All right.
Wait. I was gonna say one more thing.
Okay.
Because Chris just made me realize, like, even, it might just be because Britain, I don't know, is further along. I don't have any reason to explain it, or they're better at satire than we are. But like, I mean, you made a good point. I've never read Jonathan Swift or anything, but like, even watching like Peep Show or British comedies, like there are points where the dark humor is dark enough where I'm like, geez, I don't.
Yeah. You can find it in America.
I think them going through
HBO. You have to watch HBO for that stuff.
Yeah.
It's the commercialization, right? Like once you have like a sponsor, whoa, hey, no one wants to hear about how you're not a real person when you walk into a room. They're going to accept me, right? When the next thing is Coca-Cola, accepted by everyone.
Well, I think Britain also has they're kind of like the America that had to face World War I and World War II head on, and I think that probably adds to that bleakness and that darkness that we've kind of been sheltered from.
them in Japan are like bookend islands that make the weird like Europe experience. Like you'll find darkness on both of those motherfuckers more than the U.S. for sure.
Yeah. All right.
An island nation and experience the fucking atrocities of World War II firsthand. That'll do it.
In the case of Japan, committed a lot of the atrocities of World War II firsthand.
But also experienced some pretty big ones.
Well,
let's admit there are at least two.
I think an atom bomb evens out. Yeah, I was gonna say. I think an atom bomb evens out a good portion of like the
suicide bombers,
munition.
There's more than suicide bombers. I don't know how much y'all. This is kind of getting off track, but like Japan did a lot of really terrible stuff.
I mean, there's a reason that Europe experienced that Eurasia experienced the brunt of, I guess, at least World War II, probably World War I too, is because America funded it. Like, we bankrupted Germany and then poured all our money into Germany and built them up as like a evil totalitarian government that we could paint as like the evil at that time.
Well, to be fair though, it wasn't so much America as it was Britain and France. It wasn't so much America as it was Britain and France who.
Yeah, but we're just a corporation of Britain, bro.
Yeah, I mean, we're the United States corporation, so yeah. We probably did their, I guess we did their bidding.
But, I mean, it was
then it got out of hand.
America was more...
The Revolutionary War was just a black flag event.
I mean, if America had... If Woodrow Wilson had
I mean, I think
had his way...
Did you say yes? Did you say you agree with that?
I think there's some truth to that.
That there was a black flag? Holy shit, like my mind would be blown if that was true.
I mean, if you go read, like, there's a point where, you know, maybe not the Revolutionary War itself, but very shortly thereafter, like, you know, it was already, the Revolutionary War was already being infiltrated, like, basically as soon as it was going on, because, like, the more that I read into stuff, the more that it seems that way, because, like, if you go look up the bio, especially on Alexander Hamilton, like, he doesn't have a bio. He just appeared from the West Indies.
He was an actor.
Yeah, he just appeared from the West Indies and just started becoming a player right as the revolution, I guess, was fomenting, or right as they declared independence, started becoming a player and everything. And then
But I wonder, what did it take to get a bio back then?
Well, but like Ben Franklin, like any of the other founding fathers have.
I mean, Thomas Paine just came over. He was a corset maker, and then just showed up in America, started writing pamphlets.
He might have been another person that was an infiltrator. That's what I say. If a person doesn't have like
Rushmore, like the mountains.
Uh-huh.
Sure.
The fake mountains.
Okay.
Like if a person doesn't have a bio, like it's shady. Like, oh, they just appeared out of nowhere and started becoming famous and like getting all this stuff, like becoming integral in all these decision-making processes and stuff. But like if you read the official government version of the Constitution, it says that Alexander Hamilton, with two other people, like when they were trying to find a way, they didn't like. A few people didn't like the way that the Articles of the Confederation was working. I mean, I'm sure there were more than a few people, but there were people that were saying they didn't like the Articles of the Confederation. So Alexander Hamilton, with two other people who were concerned about improving the economy of the United States, decided to get together and write. Like 3 people wrote the Constitution, then they just convinced everyone else to accept it.
So, if Britain had a hand in it, I wonder what the turnaround time would have been for them to get the message from Britain of what it should be. Or you just think that they just knew the best interests of Britain?
I mean, I would assume that like if someone like Alexander Hamilton he was trained. Yeah, was sent in, like he was prepared ahead of time, like a spy or something.
I'm not saying it's impossible, but I would apply Occam's razor to it and say
go read about Alexander Hamilton.
Go read about the lack of information on Alexander Hamilton, and draw what conclusions you will from it.
Or lack thereof. You can't draw any conclusions about a person that you don't know anything about.
I feel a documentary fermenting here. Alexander Hamilton. Man
And the
or
first 10 minutes are just black footage, and then all of a sudden he comes in and goes, "Let's write a constitution, guys."
Woohoo!
Okay. All right. Let's watch. Let's do what we were sent
doing
here.
The
What we
Simpsons?
actually came to do here.
This is interesting. I was enjoying this.
I know. I did too, and we can let the conversation go. But I want to actually watch this episode of The Simpsons, and then we can talk about whatever we want to. All right. So do y'all have it like geared up basically?
Yeah.
0, 0, 0, 0, 0.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah. All right. You're at 0, 0, 0, 0. Champ, are you?
I'm at 0, 0, 0, 3.
What the fuck?
Well, get it to 0, 0, 0, 0.
All right.
But what came before 0?
This is okay. Hold on.
I mean,
we're gonna see right off.
Go ahead.
Sorry, we're gonna see right off the bat just one small subtle clue of what I'm talking about. The very beginning of The Simpsons is gonna have sort of a. There also seems to be a message of like new technology bad, old stuff good is something one of the other themes I'm seeing in a lot of the stuff. And I think we're gonna see that right in the start here, where something new is gonna fail and something old's gonna work or something.
What it really sounds like is he lines up with that graph of like over time you hate technology and you become more conservative.
That's probably what it is. That's what I'm thinking. So again, this was what I was saying to Chris earlier. I think this is totally guesswork on my part. I'm guessing it's probably Matt Groening, the guy who made The Simpsons, who is probably behind most of this. And that he had a show that he wanted to be one way, and it very quickly got kind of, the Harvard writers kind of took it over and made it into its golden era, but it was very different than what he wanted, and he finally kind of got back in control of it and got it more of what he wanted, which is not good. Because he does say in the interviews and stuff like that, the show is as good as it has ever been, which I cannot possibly imagine how somebody could think that.
Does his like body language say that he thinks he's telling the truth?
I don't know. I don't read body language.
You're not a mentalist.
I haven't. My interrogation techniques are not up to snuff, I'm afraid.
They're
gonna be recorded by the NSA, bro.
Yeah, we're already far beyond that. Like, I'm pretty sure my Facebook posts alone have got
you plastered all over the NSA.
No, but what I'm saying is,
the NSA, just they've got.
You'll never be invited to join. You might be, because you're on the inside. You know what's up. They want those insiders.
I am?
Well, maybe, I don't know. I'm saying Will is definitely not. All I'm saying is Will is not.
Okay. All right, so let's...
Wait, I was going to say something real quick.
Okay.
I think part of that... I think there's some, just like y'all said, a natural tend towards conservatism as you age.
Yeah.
But also, especially if you become if you read probably other religious texts, I still haven't finished getting through in any depth any individual one, but the more I read of the Bible, one of the big messages is that the worldly things are bad, basically, the kind of create
but here's the thing, and this is going to happen in this episode too. And I'll point out when it does. It's very obvious. This episode has a joke where it's very much they make Jesus out to sound like he's a wuss. And the Old Testament, I'm not joking. And the Old Testament, they actually specifically say that God says, "I raised a wuss" in this episode, and they make it like the Old Testament God of fire and brimstone is the good one, and Jesus, the one who is, be nice to everybody and don't do bad stuff, is kind of the weak and the wussy part of Christianity and stuff like that.
I'm gonna keep my eye on that because it could be just in the character that they're trying.
No. That is blatantly.
Okay, all right.
God is going to say, "I raised a wuss" is going to be a quote from this episode.
You said a lot about what's in this episode. In my comprehension of it, there's a lot of God, join the military, and drugs will make you
join the military stuff. I don't think there's any join the military stuff in this episode. I think it's some of the other ones. I don't think there's any in this one.
But there's the tripping on drugs is bad.
There's the tripping. There's going to be a anti-drug message that's crazily weird. Okay.
And then as soon as that's over, they have a commercial for like some antidepressant that's on the market.
Probably. Yeah.
Well, all I was gonna say is that what you're saying about them saying that the fire and brimstone God is right and that Jesus is a wuss, that just means that the show's controlled by Jews. No, by the Jews. Just like the Jews.
It doesn't mean that's controlled by Jews. It means that it's controlled by somebody who wants to make the idea of Christianity. In fact, I would probably say it's probably more than likely controlled by somebody who doesn't want Christianity to be about helping your fellow man and helping the poor. Probably somebody. Well,
most like strong conservatives also
like Zionist Jews.
Here we go.
Yeah, now.
How long should we talk about
I would say
how long should we get to Noam Chomsky, guys?
I would say like the Republican Party, which is supposed to be strongly conservative, they still seem to have to deal with this.
Some in the party.
Yeah, they still have to deal with this this notion of the fact that their religion says that they should help the poor, and that's very much anti. You know, like they've even been telling the Pope. They've been telling the Pope like not to get involved with politics and stuff like that.
Isn't it great when you have cognitive dissonance on top of cognitive dissonance?
Yeah. There's Catholic
feedback loop of cognitive dissonance.
Stuff like that who are basically going, the Pope shouldn't be involved in talking about politics because they have a Pope.
To morality.
They have a Pope that's like help the poor. They finally have a Pope that's like help the poor and give up your evil ways, and they're all of a sudden going, the Pope shouldn't talk about politics. He should just stick to the religion and stuff like that.
The things you're saying, Pope, make it so that I can't donate more to the church.
But conservatives listen to, like, they don't follow the Bible. They listen to man. They listen to the Pope and Zionist Jews. They listen to Benjamin Netanyahu and stuff, and
this is true though. Benjamin.
I
don't know much about Zionist Jews, but the Benjamin
They do listen to Israel.
That's a legit. Yeah, that is. That's okay. A legit claim.
All right, I want to watch the Simpsons. Let's watch the Simpsons now. Okay, so let's get it queued up, and are y'all ready?
Fire in my belly from this conversation.
I know. And now y'all are probably gonna watch this and be like, "This is stupid." Y'all what are you talking about? Okay. All right. So are y'all ready?
Sure.
Wait. Yeah. Okay. Hold on.
All right.
Are you still not on 0000?
I'm on 0.
All right.
I'm reading about Matt Groening now.
If anybody wants to follow along at home, we're watching episode 21 of the newest season of The Simpsons, Bull E.
26. Season 26.
Season 26, episode 21. You can watch it on Fox.com. And we are starting in 3, 2, 1, play. Alright, so as you can see, maybe they didn't do it on this one. I thought that maybe that was going to have the old technology winning out type thing, but I guess they didn't do it on this one.
Well, the TV still has buttons.
Huh?
And dials. The TV still has buttons and dials. That's all.
Yeah.
Immigrants leave the country. Oh. Awkward.
No, he's an immigrant too.
Yeah, never mind. I take that back. She's like 108 now.
I mean, even subtle things like that, like treat for the popular children.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so people can just be like, yeah, I mean, but that's just the way it is. Like, popular.
Yeah.
There's popular kids. They get.
I like how the voice actors sound the same as I remember.
Yeah.
I haven't watched this show in years, y'all, so.
I mean, I haven't either, really. Which is.
You're a liar.
I haven't. I've been meaning to go back and rewatch the good episodes because I keep remembering how hilarious they are.
All right, so let's pause it real quick.
Paused.
All right. So y'all might have talked over that joke and not heard it, but this was another theme that I'm hearing that's kind of weird. Is they've gotten they had a joke just there where Homer basically said, you know, if he does what his wife says, he'll get a special treat. And Bart says, "What is that?" And he says, hopefully not another you." And now he's doing a song where he's saying, "No more Bart's tonight." There's some weird thing where they've turned Homer into a person who really hates the fact that he had any children whatsoever, and like he seems to regret being a father. And is
he Catholic?
No, they're Christian. But they're not Catholics. They're some Protestant.
Why not use protection?
Well, I mean, he had Bart accidentally with his.
I'm not questioning all that. I'm just wondering, like, now he's like, he knows what's up. Like, I know he's not an intelligent person, but he puts his trash into a trash bag.
You know, he had to be fair.
He doesn't just dump the trash into the can.
To be fair, there was an episode where he had to specifically write down garbage in garbage can.
Yeah. another one of the hilarious jokes where they have to go to parenting school and the guy says, "And people, I don't know how many times I have to tell you, put your garbage in a garbage can. Don't just throw it out the window."
I didn't know that was tapping into a Simpsons common joke.
No, that was actually a good joke.
So then it is a reference that they're doing this, that he's taking out the trash right now after having made fun of his son.
I don't think so.
This is really unprofessional of me, but I have to use the restroom. Can you guys talk amongst yourselves? Are you smoking something over there? Whoa, he's smoking something.
He's got an e-cigarette.
Is it the good or just the good?
It's just an e-cigarette.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Lame.
Well, all right. So while Chris is going to the bathroom, Champ, didn't you? Whenever I pitched this idea of doing this episode, didn't you say you had heard something about like The Simpsons being used in that capacity? Like there was some conspiracy theory about that?
Yeah, the 9/11 stuff.
Oh, that was what you were talking about?
I mean, there's more than that. There's just some big one that I remember because I've seen people repeat that one a million times.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they have that one where it's like $9.11 for a train ride or something to New York City, and it's got the Twin Towers, and that was before 9/11 happened. So, but yeah, yeah. So, anyways, that was one of the things that I was seeing in some of these episodes. There's actually one part where it's like really almost terribly awkward in one of the episodes. I don't think it's this one, where Homer just like starts laughing like maniacally about the fact that he hates having children, and he's like trying to like almost laugh himself to happiness having children. I don't know. I don't know what the message exactly is, but it almost seems like there's some sort of like hatred for your children or something like that. Like maybe your children aren't growing up to be, you know, what you want them to be or something.
Because they're not in the military yet.
Yeah, they're not in the military. They're not fighting for their country.
Well,
but I feel like we're jumping too far ahead. I know this is like all the stuff that I've said, so I feel like I've got y'all on my side without actually y'all having to watch any of this.
No. But before we continue, while I was urinating, I was thinking this whole Zionist, possible Zionist propaganda. I'm curious let's pursue this a little farther. Like the Benjamin Netanyahu, and what would benefit? Like, I'm wondering, Champ, if there is a case to be made here, is it that the
I lost you, Chris.
Yeah, I lost you, Chris, too. Hold on.
We probably got too real and they started cutting.
Okay, hold on. Wait, are you? I think he's back.
Oh, sorry.
You're back. You're back. Yeah.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my question is, especially for Champ here, with your I don't know how serious connection to Zionist, Benjamin Netanyahu and all that, but I'm curious to pursue it a little bit here. Like, if they are sort of becoming propaganda for the American military, are you suggesting that is in order to bolster our support for Israel? Like, does that play into any of this, or? Was that just sort of an offhanded remark?
Here's the thing. When Champ started mentioning Zionist Jews, I was like, "What the hell is he talking about?"
Well, let me.
But wait, hold on. But once you start talking about Benjamin Netanyahu, it does. I mean, obviously there is a significant portion of our government that is very, very, very much in support of Israel, regardless, no matter what they do. And again, like I don't want to get in debate whether, or we can, I guess, but it's difficult to get into a debate about whether supporting Israel is good or not. There's a whole bunch of things on every side, and
but it's worth having.
Yeah, it definitely is worth having, and there's a lot of people who would say in their government that it's not worth having, that we just should support them and stuff like that, and that is an important thing to bear in mind. That regardless, like we spend a lot of our military money on Israel, and it's something that is very much accepted as like
just an okay thing.
Yeah, just an okay thing, and it should be done. Yeah. And it's something that doesn't get orthodoxy. It doesn't get talked about enough, I don't think.
So is that where you're going, Champ?
Well, let me retract the Jews part, because I mean, I think that.
Well, you said Zionist, but you said Zionist.
Yeah,
you didn't necessarily say Jew.
I think Zionist is the.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is the bad part of the movement. Like there are good and bad Jews, just like there are good and bad people of our religion. I mean, like.
Of our religion? Whose religion?
Of all religions.
Oh, all religion. I was about to say. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Chris is an atheist. Chris is an atheist. So.
I'm not an atheist.
I thought you said you were. You said that. You said you were a couple days ago.
I'm anti-isms.
Okay. All right.
I relinquish all claims to any ism.
Okay.
Why do you do that, Chris?
I think that once you start to do that, you lose any nuance in any argument, and you fall into the no true Scotsman fallacy almost immediately once someone who is within your ism doesn't fall in line with what you currently think that ism is about. And why would I prescribe to anything in which someone else is going to be compared to me?
So you mean to say that isms help create groupthink among the masses, so that a small cabal of people can control them and tell them what to think?
That might be a bit of an overstretch of my statement. Mine was way more of a just personal level one. Like we could discuss that, it's fine. But my discussion was that I don't want to be pigeonholed into a situation where someone's like, oh, an atheist did this, and so what now of atheism? Well, he might be a true atheist, but that doesn't make a statement against what it means to be an atheist. Or, if I was a Catholic, a Catholicist, or, a theist, whatever you want to call them, right? Like, then you have to defend, the good and the bad at the same time when I don't follow any sort of prescription. So why should I apply a label to myself? If you called me an atheist, I wouldn't necessarily go, fuck you, stop it. I'd be like, okay, it's a true statement, but it's not what I consider myself. I don't view myself as.
Well, I only said that because you and I were having drinks with Chris Cho the other.
Sorry, if I'm drinking, I'm probably lying.
And you said, me and Chris are atheists or something like that. So that's why I said that. So.
Well, I mean,
the only ism I prescribe to is alcoholism.
Okay.
I mean, when I used to, like, in college, when I used to drink, I would just say random shit to get a rise out of people. Like it was for fun.
Yeah, Chris likes to do that too.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Fucking liar.
All right.
Are we watching the show?
Yeah, let's. All right, we ready to go back to the Simpsons?
I thought we were going to talk about Zionism.
We did have a really interesting. I would like to hear the rest of Champs.
Okay.
If you had anything else to say about that, I would like to hear it, but we can move on.
The rest about Zionism?
No, if you really legitimately thought that there was a tie-in of the show to the sort of military-industrial complex being tied into a Benjamin Netanyahu pro-Israel without question Zionistic agenda.
I mean, I think that from what I have read about Zionism, because I still haven't read that much about it, but everything I've seen so far seems to mirror Nazism and other like
Totalitarianism.
Well, yeah, totalitarianism, but like where you have to eradicate a group of people, like the Jews were,
Whoa.
were almost eradicated. The Jews were targeted as the scapegoat for Nazis, and then and nearly eradicated. And so now, when Zionists use the cloak of Jewishness, then they can get away with
the existential crisis of the Jew.
Yeah, I guess so. Then they can get away with a bunch of shit because people are like, well, yeah, but they were almost wiped out. They deserve a place of their own where they can wipe out Palestinians and put them in camps. Like that's what the Gaza is it the Gaza Strip? I don't know.
It seems like a simplification.
The part where Palestinians are they're in a concentration camp. Basically, they're fenced off to a tiny small area of land.
I would agree with Chris that that's kind of a simplification of the issue.
Because let's not all of a sudden feel like we're siding with Hamas, and I'm not saying you are, but Hamas
is terrible. Because Hamas is really terrible.
Well, Hamas isn't Hamas like now the technical elected regime in Palestine? Is that not?
Yeah, they are, but I mean, you have to bear in mind that a lot of it is how much of that is the people actually wanting them to be their leaders versus them not.
The only reason I even brought it up is because if that is the elected, whatever it means to have gotten them in power, or whatever that means, because I know Palestine is sort of like this very strange region, and I don't want to also side with Israel on this because I think what they've been doing there is kind of atrocious. But in the defense of the argument of we have to, some cases I don't side with Benjamin Netanyahu on this, by the way. And we're supposed to be talking about The Simpsons, but anyway, just real quick, all I'm saying is in the edict of Hamas is destroy the Jews and. Whoa, here we go. There's an
wait, hold on. Not having mentioned Hamas, just referring to Jewish takeover of Palestinian land.
No.
The area for Palestinians is small, fenced-off areas where they are confined to.
And you're absolutely right. Historically, I was only making the claim of the current regime in both. There is a sort of equilateral, let's destroy, and in Hamas there is a edict of the Jews need to die.
Yeah, and I mean it seems.
I'm not trying to defend.
From what I generally hear of the situation, for the most part, it's a bunch of Palestinian people and a bunch of Jewish people who don't really want to fight each other, but they have governments. They have the Hamas and they have Benjamin Netanyahu, who are dead set on destroying each other. So you have a bunch of people who don't really want to do what their government's doing, but their government their government stays in power for both sides, stays in power based on the fact of having this other enemy to go against.
No, but that's I need to get rid of this page right now. I mean, but that's gonna happen with any wearing the cloak of Jewishness instead of coming out and being Zionist makes them be able to get away with a bunch of stuff because Jews were persecuted, so that we should be you can't talk bad about them because they went through so much horrible stuff. Whereas but if there's a huge imbalance of power or attacking between of a group, that group's gonna have backlash. So even Hamas, I'm sure there's a vast private majority of Palestinians who don't support Hamas, but there's going to be a radical group because because they see their people being persecuted, and because they've taken on the cloak of Judaism, and wave that around they're like, oh well, death to Jews, not death to Zionists.
But
the Zionist movement.
But I would say that's just it's a simplification because they don't have to say death to Jews. They don't have to resort to the same thing,
Right, but people
because the victim is. No, I know. Like, I think it goes across both borders is what I'm saying. All I'm saying is, if we just look at it as like, oh, now we have this new persecuted group, now we should side with them just because they're persecuted, and they want to do the persecution. Like Hamas is arguing that they should be allowed to kill all Jews until they own this land again.
Yeah, and I don't agree with that. I'm just saying that it's a.
That was the only point I was trying to get to. I wasn't trying to like necessarily say that you were wrong. I was just saying let's make sure that it's not just a oversimplification. It's both. Israel has overreached their boundaries, like you just showed in that image, by 100-fold. But we also shouldn't like side with people who are like, yeah, now give us the power so we can kill everyone.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Like what I'm saying is that.
No, I didn't say you were. I was just wanting to like.
Yeah, and then all I was saying in response to that is like you're absolutely right, but
we should also not fund them, which is why I brought it back around and wondering.
But that it's a reality of the situation that if people are persecuted, especially as a group, they're going to lash out at the group that they see as doing the persecuting.
Yeah, but you don't have to have it written into your what we plan to do as a part of it. We plan to make sure that there are no Jews on our land.
Yeah, but
that's what they have. But that is what they have.
To control people, if you tell them here's a scapegoat that's causing this problem.
Yeah, sure it is, and I'm saying we shouldn't allow for that.
I mean, you should point it out so that people are aware of it. Like you can't force something because that's what people lash out at.
Well, see, now you're just falling into the Zionist trap. You're now becoming a Zionist for Hamas.
No, I don't, because I don't support Hamas.
But you just said you can't tell them not to, but they're gonna do it, so we should just let them do it because they were persecuted.
You should point out that instead of sending troops over, and since America,
we should definitely be out of this.
Is viewed but since America is viewed as an imperialist nation that that basically takes whatever they want and infiltrates, takes over, takes land from every country in the world, and America is the easy scapegoat to point to instead of the small cabal of people that are orchestrating it, then it's you can't I lost my train. I started going with that. Like you can't.
It was a long train.
Yeah, I mean, all you can do is point out that we shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be doing that either. But you can't what are you gonna do? Are you gonna if you start attacking the military or something, then the military is gonna start people in the military are gonna start saying, oh look, the populace has turned against us. We need to institute martial law, and they're going to turn against civilians. Like someone is going to take advantage of a situation like that and use it to their advantage. Point out a scapegoat and be like, look, these people are causing us. Are these them?
Will is having a rave over there. I'm sorry, what is happening? Like he starts bouncing and the camera falls.
Them are causing problems for us, so we need to fight them. Them are your problem.
Mm-hmm. The Jews.
Us need to.
The Zionists.
In one specific example, Zionists. Yeah. But they don't say that. They say Jews because they blatantly
because they want to play on our feeling of wanting to feel progressive and liberal. And what's more liberal than saying, oh yeah, of course I love the Jews. No, I get you. I'm agreeing with you at this point.
Well, and also if they blatantly play up the Jewish thing, then when a group decides to be like, hey, what they're doing with this group of whoever this group of people is doing isn't right, then if they keep saying the Jews, then they're like, oh, the Jews are doing it, not this small cabal of people who I think, I guess, either choose to call themselves Zionists or have been given that label as an additional label that they just don't blare out, and
no
so
true Scotsmen. They're not true Jews. They're the Zionist Jews.
yeah, they're Zionists.
All right.
So the Simpsons.
Let's get back to the Simpsons.
No, I think you have good points though. I'm not. I'm not trying to dismiss you.
That's why I didn't want to interrupt it. But
No. I think it's a lot of really interesting stuff.
We've only gotten a tenth of the way through this episode, though. So okay, so let's.
I would love to continue that conversation elsewhere. Just
we definitely can. We definitely can. Okay, so let's resync up. So I'm at about 2:01. So let's go.
I'm at 2:08.
Okay. Can you get to 2:01?
Oh, the one other thing I was going to say related to that is that there's kind of a push towards, I guess, with government as being a replacement for God. There's also kind of a push for the acceptance of like abortion and acceptance of like not having children, like because you can have more money that way, and like along with what William was saying about March saying that if you do this, you get a treat, like the emasculating of males.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of all parts of stuff that I was talking about here. Like I think they make there being a message that in Homer's mind, he would be a lot more successful and have more money if he hadn't had kids and stuff like that.
There's so much to decouple from that whole discussion that I'm not even going to put a shovel in there.
Yeah, like let's I tell you what, let's because I do want to get through this episode. Yeah. Let's kind of like we can kind of like, instead of talking about each point as thoroughly as we just did. Let's like kind of like point them out, and then at the end we can kind of pick back through what we want.
I mean, like we can go for
we'll see.
Point that out.
We'll see. I do want to get through the whole episode though.
However you want to do it.
Okay. All right. So I'm trying to drag through. It's letting me get to 2:09. So
I went to 2:0.
Okay. All right. I'll go to 2:0. Okay. I'll go there. All right. So.
Sorry, William. The group is at 2:0.
All right.
He was at 2:01, and we all backtracked for him.
Well, I can only go to 2:01. So all right. Well, we'll start it there though. Okay, we'll be about to sync. All right. So 3, 2, 1, play.
Oh, I lost my window.
Do we need to pause?
We'll pause it.
Pause. I paused.
Right.
I'm at 2:08.
I'm at 2:08. Champ gets 2:08.
Where did it go?
All right, everybody at home watching.
I completely.
Maybe a Zionist stole it.
Yeah. All right. We'll get your window back up and get to 2:08.
Black flag.
No, I think I accidentally closed it. Oh, I hit the back button.
Right.
You didn't. Some secret agent.
Someone, an NSA agent, is hacking your computer. Doesn't want you watching Simpsons.
Maybe I've said too much truth already, and we gotta put it soft.
All right.
Was that guy that used to date Katy Perry?
Russell Brand.
Watch out, Russell Brand. You're telling too much truths.
I mean, but he's funny too. Like his truths is like not all of his stuff's funny, but like.
No, I watch his stuff. I like the guy. I think he's ridiculous, but I enjoy it.
He's either, in my opinion, he's either really interesting to listen to or really not interesting to listen to.
I think
it's kind of one or the other.
But I think that's the problem with being a comedian. You just and being someone who just like flies off the cuff. You're not gonna always like everything. So that wasn't a dig at like saying he's stupid. I know about his stuff. I clearly know the name of his YouTube channel. I enjoy the guy. Like if he didn't exist, I'd be a little sadder in the world. Like if he died, I'd actually mourn his death. So don't take me wrong. Like I'm just also making fun of his. Like it's the truth, man, and this is what it is. And if you look into the mind's eye, I'm like, dude, I've done.
Well, I think
we're all connected together in this one universe.
I mean, I think he plays up like I think that's the only real gripe I have with him is I think he plays up like a Jesus like persona, like
Yeah.
You know,
I just thought the one gripe I have about him, but
the
whatever.
And follow me.
I feel like we have so much conflict on like such minutia. Like
I know.
we're on the same track, but in like such like an oscillating like sinusoidal like wave.
Okay.
Like we just butt against
Champ, are you back up, Champ?
Yeah.
I enjoy
you're at 208 or thereabouts.
Oh, I thought we went back to 2.
No, we're at 208 now because we had to pause.
I'm fine. Give me like 5 seconds. Okay, and go.
Go.
All right.
Oh my God, the trash cans are full. Like all of his children are full. He has too many children already. You guys have broke my mind on that.
That's probably a subtle message that
Yeah.
children, more people produce more waste, and so as the green movement, we have to.
All right, let's not get bogged down in the subtle stuff because there's going to be a lot of obvious stuff that I want to point out.
Like Flanders has cum on his hat. He's totally
but the stuff that normally doesn't even register is probably the stuff that Chris was talking about, that like it gets people to accept as just normal ways of life, so that
turns your brain off so you don't critique it when you see it in real life.
All right, here's the drug thing. Watch this.
Oh shit.
That's kind of funny.
Wrong way.
All right, so let's pause it right there real quick. So yeah,
wow, we made it a whole 2 minutes.
I know. Well, I just want to talk about. So yeah, there's literally a thing where the Otto's, I guess, high, and then this train says, "I'm going to die, children, and so will you someday." And then Otto's head is floating in a vase, or in a punch bowl.
I wish that was the worst trip I ever had, and I wish that was the worst thing I ever woke up to.
But I feel like that's a very blatant, don't do drugs, kids, you'll die if you do kind of message. That was one of the ones that.
At the same time, I could see that being in the writing room where they wanted to take it some like crazy step forward, and they're like, we need to back it up and make it a little less like just crazy. Because Otto's you guys are the experts, so I'm gonna leave it to you. But Otto's always kind of been the guy who you'd expect to experiment with stuff, right?
Yeah, but
I never took it as a good thing that Otto was a druggie. I always thought, oh, if you're a druggie, you'll end up a bus driver.
Yeah,
which given like today's society, a bus driver is a respectable fucking job. Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, but to be fair, Otto's usually was used more just as like a joke, like him walking out of Stoner's Pot Palace and going, that's flagrant false advertising or something like that.
But that used to be a critique on the drugs, because back then to smoke and be a bus driver and to walk out of that place would be bad. Where do you go now when it's just acceptable?
Well, and they treat him like a burnout. Like he did drugs, and like that's where he is. All he cares about is like he still acts like a teenager. All he cares about is like rock and roll. When they give him everything they want at the school, he says, "I want a guitar, but like a double guitar."
Yeah.
All right. Like, that's all he.
So yeah, I don't know if I buy that was a necessarily like an anti-drug thing as much as a burnout. Like you can burn out on these things, which he's always been, as far as I remember.
Well, and I also think
the main thing wasn't so much Otto, it was that train that comes in and says, "I'm going to die someday, children, and so will you." That's the one that really jumps out at me as like really a weird sort of why was that? Because that's not really a joke. Like the show still is supposed to be a comedy.
That's actually the biggest joke of life.
Well, but that's like.
That's not a joke, though.
Call that dark humor.
I get okay, fine, yeah.
I mean, yeah, that is the tenet of all dark humor is. Guess what? Someone just died, but don't worry, because everyone in this room is going to die.
It doesn't have to be death. Like it could be a joke about. Yeah, it's usually about death. I don't know, someone getting cancer, making fun of cancer. Or something
Cancer's
like that.
Cancer
leads to death. But I mean, if you want to take it,
humor is death.
If you want to take it down another level, just because I was mentioning the green movement / human life creates waste, that's sustainability, I guess, movement, then it plays into kind of the nihilism of YOLO, you only live once and stuff, where it's oh, you might as well just
do whatever you want to.
Do whatever you want.
Now I feel like you're attacking me directly, Champ.
Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want, not take care of yourself so that you'll die faster, basically. Because you're.
But it would be a good thing if more people died faster.
I don't agree with that.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to the episode. Let's go back to the episode here. All right. So I'm at about 3:29. Is that?
Yep. Me too.
Yeah. Champ.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Ready and go.
There's a lot more kids dancing than I remember in middle school.
The music that they're playing is awesome. An elementary school would have.
The fuck? What?
See, and people can relate to the fact that the mom can't get a real job because the economy is so bad that the only way that she can subsist is by starting her own small business.
This music makes you want to drink.
See, and then
that's alcohol.
What's up?
Whoa. I'm surprised the writers remember that you could collapse the benches in a school.
Uh-huh.
Did he grab his balls? He didn't even dance with her. What the fuck just happened, y'all? Is this a lack of humor y'all are talking about?
Yeah.
What the fuck is happening?
The show's not going to be funny.
I neither care nor really feel like I need to critique any of this. Oh, is she going to protect him? She took it.
Women are materialistic.
Oh.
Yeah.
Women.
Let's pause right there. So yeah, that is kind of what I got from that too. What Champ was saying. There's as soon as he doesn't act like a man, she wants nothing to do with him and stuff like that.
Well, and he doesn't give her nice things.
Yeah, he gives her something that's broken and no good and stuff like that, and she doesn't want it anymore. And
but not only that, he wasn't the alpha in the group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Before he was the alpha because he stood out. He didn't go to the group. He didn't dance.
And I also think there's kind of a weird thing. Nobody mentioned it, but with this devil where Bart said something like, "Do you know what boobs feel like?" And he kind of goes like, "Yeah, of course I do," and stuff like that. I don't know. It feels like some sort of weird. Again, I'm probably reading way too much into this, but like some sort of weird, like, you know.
Are you reading enough to go to Zionism again?
No, not Zionism, but like, you know how there's always this kind of stereotype of like the conservatives are probably the most likely to be gay because they're the ones talking bad about it and stuff like that. That like maybe there's something with this devil or something where he's supposed to be.
I don't know about that. I thought it was more about like how when you hit puberty,
you
lie
try
to all
to
your
act
friends.
like you try to act like you're tough and stuff. Yeah, that's probably more what it is.
Yeah,
like
trying
all
to learn how to be like alpha, like you want to be able to be the first person to say like, oh yeah,
I touched a boo. Yeah, I felt a boo. Yeah, that's cool.
And it always boils down to some girl came and talked to me, and then therefore I told her or told you through the transitive properties of me talking to her that I felt her boobs, and you can't prove otherwise. And don't go asking her about it because it's rude and societal norms.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, and if you.
Let's go ahead.
Well, and also when he reappears, the demon girl is walking by on a cell phone.
What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, man.
Women are materialistic.
What?
Women are materialistic.
Well, yeah.
Playing that up.
Okay. All right.
Wait, how many of us in this chat are MGTOW?
And she's got accessories out the wazoo.
Okay.
How many of us are here are MGTOW?
MGTOW. Oh, you mentioned that earlier. I don't think anybody knows what that is, but you, Chris.
I go to some dark places on the internet.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's go back to the episode here.
All right.
I'm at about 6:02.
I'm not MGTOW.
Okay.
I guess I'm supposed to ask like what.
No, you don't have to.
I don't know what it,
we'll talk. We can talk about it later.
Now, I feel like this requires a supplementary meme time where we just talk about all the things we didn't talk about during this episode.
That might be true. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and play in 3, 2, 1, go.
Going. Oh, I didn't see the girl walk by with a cell phone yet. I just got to that.
Oh yeah, I just got to that too. Okay.
So I was very confused. I was so confused about that. I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about, dude?" Now I get it. Oh, MGTOW. This is the MGTOW episode on feminism. This is anti-feminism, pro-MGTOW.
That's not anti-feminism. That's playing up that women are the new men.
Yeah.
Which is anti-feminism.
It kind of.
I guess in a way.
Wait. All right. Listen to this part. Hold on. It's actually all right.
Wait,
what I want to get.
Wait, pause it. Can we pause it?
Pause it. What's up?
Is that what? No,
it's actually. It's something.
Talking and I didn't want to miss it.
Okay, it's something that Sideshow Mel's gonna say actually in a little bit here.
Okay, so real quick though, I would like to state what I think this is a reference to. Dr. Johnson, one of the first compilers of English language dictionary, he bound the book, and then he was soon after he received a letter from this women's group who were against profanity, and they said, "We're very happy that you chose to not put into your dictionary any profane words." And he wrote back to them, "I really respect your ability to detect any profane words." The joke being that who looks for it are those who are the most aware of them. Instead of just being like it's a dictionary and words are words.
Yeah.
And I think this is clearly a reference, like bully being a bad word. Like, why is it a bad we can get into the totalitarianism of word.
Well,
no, we can't get into it.
No. You're saying the word itself. I thought you were saying why is bullying necessarily a bad thing? And all I was going to say is that unless I'm still a few seconds ahead of y'all, Mo actually defends bullying as a good thing because that's how we got our land. Stole it from the Indians.
Yeah.
Manifest Destiny is a good thing.
Yeah.
That's why it's a good thing that the government is going over and taking over.
Yeah, we'll need to resync up because that is ahead of where I was. But yeah, I do remember that he says that, which is again kind of a crazy notion.
But But I don't think that changes. I was just saying that I think this is a reference to, like, the idea that the people who want to look for bad things are often the people who look for it. Like the people who are making something that's like important in life often aren't worried about like whether or not they offend somebody. They're just doing the actual science of it. Like I'm compiling a list of English words, and they compile it, and then these people come in and say, "You're such a good person because you didn't put any profane words in there." And this guy's just like, "Are you serious? Like I don't know. I was just compiling the words I knew of."
To that. Yeah.
Like what were the curse words that like I didn't include because I guess they should be in there because they're words. Right?
Tell me what I didn't put in there so I can get it in there.
Like that's the whole point of that. Not like I don't know.
But let's re-coordinate our sync because I think James.
I'm at 709.
All right, I'm at 706, so I'm gonna get to 709.
1 second ahead.
All right, go to 709. All right. So 3, 2, 1, play. Yeah, I thought that was kind of a
without any discussion.
Yeah, let's just discuss. Let's not discuss anything. Let's just pass it.
And the false vote that just happened.
Yeah. And this.
Well, and even though Marge,
they used the word troll. Like this is important. Like, I'm not sure that I agree with you that this is a right wing. Oh, I got a commercial.
And again, that's why.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but also like, I guess because William said the show goes in a different direction or whatever. Like, I don't know where the show's ultimately going, but like, Marge is the well-meaning mom who like you have to have a sense of context with the show to understand that Marge is often like used as someone who is well-meaning but is usually ends up being wrong. Like she acts out and is usually ends up being wrong.
Y'all pause if y'all have.
I'm in commercial.
Commercial.
I have like a minute and 15 of commercials, so I'll pause as soon as it's over.
Okay. It still feel good that I can't even think a logical thought.
I muted it.
Yeah, you can mute it while it's on commercial.
I
am. Yeah, go ahead.
No, but just the adorable little girl like completely derailed my train of thoughts. Like.
Oh, I didn't look at them. I was looking at y'all's ugly faces.
With the commercials do they?
Yeah, my screen froze up, so I'm trying to get back in.
Okay. Someone's derailing. We're getting too close to the truth.
I probably. Luckily, I've already seen the episode, so I know kind of what's.
But what I was gonna say is, without a sense of context, what Marge says is what a lot of people do, and what ultimately results in something like Hamas is because bullies make fun of people and beat them up and laugh at them and stuff. Marge says, "Let's take bullying and laugh in its face," and she's reacting by doing like the same wrong.
Oh yeah, it's I'm paused now. I just came back to the show.
Okay, go ahead and pause it because I have to get back into this and I'm stuck trying to load back in here.
So I mean, part of that, like, right? It's confirmation bias, which is the whole idea of when you look through a book and you don't find the curse words, you assume that the person who made the book was not putting the curse words in on purpose. Like when you look for, oh, this is because they're Jews that they want to take our land, you assume that it's okay if we then put into our like bylines of who we are that we plan to eradicate all Jews, or whatever it is. Like we can look up. I'm pretty sure there is actually a website that lists out the edicts of Hamas or whatever.
I'm sure there's many websites that list that out.
Well, I think there's a reputable source for the actual.
Well, but wouldn't the most reputable source be like Hamas's website?
Exactly. No, I think that's where you could find it. I don't know. Precisely, but I'm not saying that like Israel's much better. I don't want to make that claim either. But I think we could go and look at both of these people and see what their intentions are.
Well, but when you say confirmation bias, you take away intent. Like you're making it. That's a problem that I have with like. I'd have to think about it a little bit more to word it exactly right. But I mean, like, in this instance, when you use confirmation bias, you're taking away the culpability of the action. Like, yeah, obviously there are people who do it by probably without thinking about it, or do it like just because someone else is doing it. Like, oh well, if they're bullying, you know, if it's okay for them to bully, then why can't we bully them back?
Yeah.
And then, you know, if one person sees them doing it, or they're like, you know, or their edict is potentially, you know, the Jews are eradicating us, so we have to eradicate them because they're the ones eradicating us. Like, if we don't eradicate them, they're going to keep eradicating us. They're doing it back, and, you know.
So isn't that the entire reason for us going into, like, Iraq and Afghanistan?
Yeah, they attacked us, or they were going to attack us, and if we don't attack them back, they're going to just keep attacking us, and we need to take the fight to them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, that was the war on terror, like.
Oh, right. As soon as you apply like some euphemism to it, it changes it and makes it into a bad thing.
Well, I mean, because like invading Iraq specifically, like they use that as part of it. It's like they're like, oh well, there's some terrorist cells there, but also they were like, you know, saying like, oh, Saddam Hussein is gassing his own people and stuff, and so they use that as justification too.
Not to necessarily defend it, but out of curiosity, have you ever watched the parliamentary meeting where Saddam Hussein takes power from the Iraqis?
No,
I have not.
He walks into the room. If you haven't seen it, it's like A&E has a documentary, and he recorded it precisely for the reasons that I'm about to explain. He walks into the room, he begins pointing at certain people, having them removed from the room, and then at a certain point, everyone starts getting up and clapping for Saddam, and he says, you, take these guns, you're going to go out and kill the other half of the people. And he makes them shoot everyone who was an opposer to his regime change. Now, whether or not we were culpable in that, because I think we partially were, that's pretty atrocious, but to defend him, I think, becomes a difficult task. And
I'm not going to defend Saddam Hussein.
No. I was just wondering if you had seen it before, though.
No, I haven't seen
it. Not to actually add any credence one way or the other to our discussion, but he was pretty disgusting as well. And
I don't doubt that for a second. Like, I mean, if, you know, without having really looked into even Saddam Hussein's like backstory or anything, I mean, one big example of like, I guess one of our first most notable regime changes that the U.S. was responsible for, CIA was responsible for, was in Iran.
Oh,
The secular leader of Iran, we overthrew the secular leader of Iran and installed
Ayatollah Khomeini.
Yeah, and installed a radical.
Yep.
Let's
not forget, one of my favorite presidents was partially responsible for the fucking entire Central America crisis, right? Like,
who was that?
Teddy Roosevelt.
Teddy Roosevelt. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say. Yeah.
Like all that shit we did. Like, I don't want to call it American. What do we No. There's we call it something more fun sounding. American. No, I don't think hegemony really plays into it as quite as much as like a lot of people like to say. Hegemony of memetics, maybe, perhaps, but I think it's a more nuanced issue. My complaint was about American adventurism. Like we like to claim this American adventurism. I like to personally think that they had better intentions. Maybe I'm wrong. They actually thought that there was something more than just an adventure in fucking Afghanistan, an adventure in Iraq, an adventure in Mexico and South America. They thought they were doing the right thing, but it doesn't change. It doesn't change. Like we just bombed fucking Doctors Without Borders. Like that made me, that made me disgusted beyond. So there's critiques that can be made. I once again feel. Sorry, go ahead.
All I was gonna say is like, at least in the case of America, I'm sure probably any country does this, but like, at least in the case of America, like when you inculcate the spirit of like frontierism and manifest destiny and idealize like cowboys and lone gunmen or lone like people who step up and take over as sheriff or something like that as a single man, then like it makes it if that becomes what's glorified by the country, then it's really easy to be like, oh yeah, let's have an adventure. And
see, Will, this is the problem when you get some people who haven't talked in a long time together, who actually care about bigger political agendas and bigger issues.
They can't focus on something small like The Simpsons. Like I wanted
and just talk about The Simpsons like we have to, because this, like, no, I'm not trying to dismiss you.
No, I like this.
I'm just trying to make the point that we are supposed to be talking about The Simpsons, and I really enjoy this conversation because I at no point think that I'm correct in all this. Like, I've read a lot, and I have an opinion, and I clearly have an opinion that's somewhat different from yours. I don't know that we're all, me and Will and you, are all that far apart. I think we're very much like aligned on wanting the same things, but we see everything as slightly different of how it came to be and what we need to do to fix it. And I think it's fascinating, and I love talking about it. That's all I meant by like prevaricating by saying, oh, we're supposed to be talking about The Simpsons. I don't mean to suggest that I don't want to like continue to engage in this.
Well, but
I think it's very fascinating what you're saying.
Since you pointed it out, like that.
Yeah. No, I know it's my fault.
Like,
I know it's my fault.
No, but I know that you don't think that way, or we wouldn't be getting onto these bigger discussions. But like that is a problem that
I would be getting on these bigger discussions. I do care about it in this way, yeah.
But all I was gonna say is like that is another problem that is becoming more pervasive. Is like for whatever reason, I'm sure that there's something being embedded or like something being trained into people, but there's like when I don't know, it's most evident to me when I'm like reading Facebook comments, but there's this problem of like specialization and compartmentalism where people like everything is related in some way, but there's like this growing sense of like compartmentalism where people will be talking about something and someone will make a corollary that is more or less the same principle, and they're like, what does that have to do with anything? We're talking about X, and what does that have to do? It's like, why are we talking about The Simpsons? Because the stuff that we're noticing in the show is being fed or subliminally fed into people is part of a bigger issue where people are being indoctrinated into a certain way of thinking.
Absolutely, and me and Will had talked about this during lunch, so I wasn't meaning to dismiss The Simpsons as the catalyst for what we're discussing. I just meant to say that Will had hoped that we would get through an episode without sort of going on like slight diatribes that were not germane to what was going on in the episode, but not necessarily so closely tied that we're analyzing the principles of The Simpsons and how it relates to it, but now carrying on from how The Simpsons can catalyze us to talk about bigger properties, which is fine. By all means, I fucking love talking about this shit. I find it fascinating. I find it important, and I don't mean to dismiss it, but I think the original intent was to look more like we all know these bigger subjects are always at hand, and how does The Simpsons play in? And both of us,
it's fine.
all of us are finding a way in order to make it more about the bigger topics and less about the Simpsons.
Well, what I'll probably end up doing is just time stamping when we talk about the Simpsons. people can either they can listen to the whole thing if they want to, or if they just want to watch the Simpsons part, they can just watch that.
That's right.
But let's go ahead right now and get back to the Simpsons here, because I've got my stuff back up. So I'm at about 7:52. Where are y'all
My
at?
stuff's always up.
What's up?
Bad joke. I'm at 7:57. We're only 7 minutes in, y'all.
All right, yeah, I know. I'm gonna get to 7:57 here.
I keep losing my Simpsons window.
All right.
I'm good. I'm
good?
not gonna go back. I'm at 8:01. I'm not gonna go back any further because I don't want to get caught in the commercial again.
Okay, I'm gonna go to 8:01 then. Chris, go to 8:01.
But I've never seen this.
Yeah, you missed 3 seconds.
Where the police are arresting children.
I'll tell you when I get. How about I tell you when I get there?
Okay. All right.
Same
Say
difference.
go.
Wait, no, hold on. Chris has to get where.
That's what I'm saying. He says go.
Go.
Where the police arrest children
Uh-huh.
and take their property and civil forfeiture all their property.
Yeah, he is taking whatever he wants.
And it's phallic, and he puts it in his mouth. He's gay. Long trouser.
City arresting people who don't think they're not criminals is a hell of a lot. I'm guessing this is just a.
What's happening? Misogynist, right? What? Oh, the bullying. Okay, I see.
And the cops go in, guns blazing. They have their guns pulled before they enter the room where nothing's actually happening.
Homer is now abusing the system. But again, this is probably it's.
Well, and he's
also to do make list.
He's also doing what is already a thing in society where you're told,
they're getting all the immigrants too.
Yeah, rounding up immigrants, but they're
wait. You got to learn to trust your government.
Mm-hmm.
He whispered. Now again, all right. Let's pause it for just a quick second. Just a quick second.
You think that's going to happen? You think that's going to be the case?
So again, I mean, it's again, this is kind of what I was talking about. Homer says, Lisa, you have to trust your government. Then he grabs his lamp and says, that's what I do. Again, it's a question of, are they critiquing the NSA and stuff like that, or are they just
inoculating us
to it? Again, and that's kind of the question that I guess I was kind of putting forward. Because, is this something that, like, if a kid was watching this, would they take the message away, we should always trust our government, or would they maybe be smart enough to realize this isn't acceptable or something like that? I don't know.
But they didn't also comment on the talking into the lamp. Like, they made a joke. The joke was more like,
this is how it is.
You need to act like you trust the government. While people are watching,
you're going to be listened to. You're going to be listened to whatever you're doing.
And then that's just accepted. Like it's just accepted that the government is listening to you.
Yep. All right. I think that's good enough though. Let's go back.
That's a fair statement about it.
What?
I think that's a fair statement.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So.
Also, the only other thing I was going to say is Homer reporting a bully to the police is something that already exists, where the government tells you, inform someone, if you see you see it reported or whatever, like if you see someone stealing, there, he said, I raised a wuss.
What? Oh, have you started?
Oh, yeah.
No, you said wait.
You
said wait, Champ.
All right,
Champ, you said wait.
Champ.
You said wait.
I'm at 9:47.
Oh, push play, but I said wait.
I went back. But I mean,
I'm at 949.
all right, 949, something like that.
949. I'll go there.
Okay. But Homer, again, it's accepted that if you see something wrong, inform. If you see something that's not really a crime, inform on the person. Like if you see
Because the police will know how to deal with it.
And that's what, like 1984. That's what they did. They inoculate. They got their children to inform on their parents, no matter what they were doing and stuff like that. They would say,
if you want to go there, they also did the language thing that Marge tried to do.
Yeah.
We need to change. We need to affect what bully means. We need to redefine what a word is.
Yeah.
Because a bully to me never meant something that was a crime.
It was just a guy who was a jerk, basically.
Yeah, it was the guy that everyone should hate. Everyone should know if he's a bully, you tell your friends, and everyone knows he's a bully, and you deal with it. It wasn't something that was a matter of the school. It wasn't a matter of the state. It was just a matter of, we know he's a bully. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, and Homer, as the everyman, rather than... What is he actually reporting? He's reporting a car.
Ice.
He doesn't have
there wasn't enough ice in his drink.
And someone cut him off, but also someone cut him off or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. But someone cut him off, and instead of either dealing with it or just accepting
his own culpability in it, who knows? Maybe he was going too slow.
Yeah, just accepting that, stuff happens, and he doesn't know what is going on with that other person, where no actual violence, I guess, was committed.
And also the intention isn't there. Bully to me always meant the intention of making someone feel bad for no reason, right? If you're gonna bully someone, you go to the kid who looks the weakest or whatever, and you pick on him for something that he doesn't even know what's going on. Oh, your shoes aren't cool enough, and he's like, I have Adidas, and he's like, yeah, they're not Nike. You know what I mean? What the fuck is the difference between Adidas and Nike?
Made by different Chinese children.
Exactly. I was gonna say different slave labor, and that's it. But this is the case of not enough ice. Must be a bully. Someone cut me off. It's totally. I'm predicting that he knew I was there. Sometimes you get cut off because people don't know you're there, because you're in their blind spot, Well,
but also showing them or inform on someone else, plants the little seed of distrust. So people, other people are watching me and might be informing on me.
That's absolutely true.
I can't trust my.
And we already show that, or they already show that he knows the NSA is always watching him, right? He speaks into the fucking lamp. Okay. So why does he speak into the lamp? Because he knows they're informants. What if they know that I'm not informing on the bullies? Are they going to go after me for being a bully apologist?
Yeah, which was an issue in the Soviet Union with they not only were you they also arrested people for not informing on people and stuff like that.
I don't want to go too far, but I do think that some tenets of feminism have that aspect. You're an apologist for this or that we don't align with.
That's why, as you pointed out already, is falling in line with a group think is.
Which is why I don't subscribe to an ism.
Problematic, because then you have to.
You're part of the no-ismism.
You're not allowed to disagree. You get shouted if you
anti-ism. It's an actual claim.
I guess if you accept. I guess if you want to be accepted within a group, I guess a group think setting, you're going to get shouted down if you actually disagree with something. If you actually raise possibly a valid concern, you're just going to get shouted down. Well, that's not the way we think. You're feeding into male societal
because of no true Scotsman, right? The second you step outside the bounds, you're not a true Scotsman.
Mm-hmm.
Curiously, I do wonder, you guys, since we've already painted me as an atheist, which I'm fine with. I am now curious what the rest of this group aligns with, if any, or if you don't want to talk about it, that's fine as well. I think a non-committal. I'm fine with being labeled an atheist, even though I'm an anti-ismist.
Well, hold on. You said apparently William, unless William made that up, you at some point stated you were an atheist, and so.
Yeah. I'm okay with the label atheist. I'm just like, I also don't like to be like pigeonholed to like atheism.
But now you've corrected that, and so there's no longer any reason to think you're an atheist because you just explained that that's not.
Oh, I am anti-theism.
Okay.
Well, I guess since you're asking what I would probably be a theist would probably be the closest thing that you could say to.
Not a deist. You're a theist.
You know what? I don't remember what the difference is between the two. It's one
Deism
of those two.
thinks there's a God, but you can never know.
Okay, then I'm a deist. A deist.
You're a God. God of odiism, laziness. There is a God, but he didn't do shit.
Well, all right. I believe there is a God, but I don't believe that I know exactly what form that God takes.
Agnostic deist. That's fine.
Okay.
And Champ.
I mean,
if you don't have to prescribe to anything,
well,
it's fine.
yeah, I was gonna say, especially since you already addressed the ism thing, like the closest thing that I.
Catholic. You're a Catholic. You're a Jew. I knew it. You're a Jew.
You're a Zionist Jew.
You look like a Jew. You sound like a Jew. You must be a Zionist Jew.
What does that even mean?
I'm just joking.
I don't see color or
you don't see skin color.
So I don't know what a Jew looks like.
You only see white or lack thereof.
I mean, the closest thing I subscribe to, what I believe.
God, this is taking a while.
In my experience, well.
God. I said God. Sorry, I'm an atheist.
What I believe in my experience is that all anything that has ever been thought exists in some capacity.
Okay.
It does.
No.
Especially that's the whole reason that's the whole reason I named the thing meme ideas.
Because everything that exists has a corollary. Upside down table attached to a ceiling that doesn't have any glue or any sort of adhesive property, but is still attached to a ceiling through only the properties of physical realms of scientific knowledge.
That now exists to me because I can completely visualize that in my head.
Oh, okay.
Like that's a thing.
So you're a non-dualist. You're a non-dualist. I'm okay with that. That's one of the few things I would have prescribed to is non-dualism. But anyway, go ahead.
The things I try to accept into my life are, I guess, things that ring true to me. So like I'm reading the Bible. Pretty much everything I've read in it, everything that I've read in the Bible that I've personally read in the Bible, not having read the whole Bible, actually read rings true to me. Not that people have interpreted or said is what the Bible says. What I've actually read in the Bible rings true. I'm guessing
Which Bible?
I mean, I basically kind of just
Old Testament?
Mash them all together. Like I go to this website
That doesn't mean anything.
I go to this website called Bible Hub.
Mash them all together and do something.
Hold on, let him say what he's saying, Chris.
Well, I mean, they all do basically say the same thing, but if I go to the Bible Hub website, there's a website called Bible Hub, and they have all the Bibles, I guess, that either exist or are accepted as
canon.
Well, we wouldn't even say canon. They probably have non-canon books in there. I'm saying all the translations that are recognized as translations of the Bible, and so you can, and they put them all side by side. So you can pull up any passage and read the King James version and the New International Version and the version and the Greek version and etc. etc.
New Testament.
What?
So New Testament?
What about it?
No, that's what you mean by the Bible?
He's asking, are you reading the New Testament or the Old Testament?
The
Yeah,
whole
sorry.
thing. The whole thing. I kind of jump around.
Oh, the whole thing. No, that's fine. That's a fine answer. I was just curious because some people do delineate them very hardcore. This is, again, a subject that I'd really like to get into with everybody, but I feel like we are getting away from
We
the
are kinda getting away
original
from
intent.
I
But
mean,
I love this conversation, and I would love to just continue on for like 3 hours about it. But I also don't want to steal away the original intent of this. I was just curious. As we kept going on, I felt like there was some tension about me.
Well, I mean, the only other thing I was gonna say, I don't.
No tension.
Not tension like bad tension. Not bad tension at all. Not at all. Like, I like talking to y'all. My point was that I felt like maybe y'all kept saying things that like felt like maybe y'all thought differently. Not like a tension like you were putting pressure on me, but like
I mean, I think
ideas have tension. Ideas all have tension, right?
Yeah.
That's all I mean.
Yeah.
So I was just curious.
Yeah, no, it's fair. It's a fair question. I think it helps to also put in the context what we're saying and stuff like that too.
I think it makes it more interesting for people watching to know that there is a variety of people who
we're not all this. Yeah, I know that's kind of one of the problems that I've always said is we always seem like we're kind of always on fairly the same page and stuff like that.
But we are because sometimes I think we're all on the right page.
And just
we just all disagree with small things.
Yeah.
Which is great. Which is really good because I think it's good that someone who is like a heathen like me who should be cast aside as
can still find so much common ground with us civilized folk.
I'm sorry, with y'all plebeians.
Yeah.
With y'all non-fucking exorbitant, like, lifted up beyond y'all's 2,000-year-old doctrine.
Okay.
Well, that's the whole thing that I wasn't really getting to it because like that's just
about hating the Jews.
What?
Just joking. Oh my god.
Let's go back to the Simpsons.
That's just where I'm at. Is that is on the Bible. Well, Zionist.
I'm just joking. I completely actually agree with your attempts at critiquing Zionism without being called a fucking anti-Semitic. I think anti-Semitism is often euphemism for saying let's stop this discussion because it makes me uncomfortable, and I love uncomfortable conversations. So I don't mean to dismiss.
Okay.
All I was gonna say is like what I'm on right now, as far as I guess ancient religious texts, is the Bible. Like when I've read the small portions I've read of like other religious texts.
The Quran?
I actually haven't read. I mean, I've read quotes from I've seen quotes from the Quran. I've never read actually.
But did you read it in Arabic?
No.
Because that's the perfect language for it. If you don't understand Arabic, you can't understand it.
Okay, let's go back to the Simpsons.
No, the only other thing I was going to say is like that most of the stuff that I've read in other texts, like the basic message rings true as the same. Like the whole reason that the Bible, I guess, especially at this point in time, speaks to me is because Jesus. Well, I mean, even reading the Book of Revelations, like the Book of Revelations basically says like in the end everyone gets into heaven pretty much, like unless you just are unwilling to.
Why does that ring true to you?
What?
Why does that ring true to you?
Because I am ultimately accepting of everyone. Like I don't want.
What does that have to do with claims of an afterlife?
What?
What does that have to do with your claim? Well, yeah, of course.
I mean, but
that is the claim of the afterlife is that it exists.
But I mean, the word heaven doesn't even necessarily have to be afterlife specifically. Like
so
people say,
current life.
People use as a phrase on a regular basis. Man, I feel like I'm in heaven right now.
Okay,
like,
now you're bending it into my language, which I enjoy, but I feel like you are morphing it from its original intent, which is fine, but I don't think that's what they mean.
But that's the whole point. Is like that's the whole reason I don't listen to people's interpretations of the Bible.
Personal, personal Jesus.
I just listen to the words itself because
you're like Marilyn Manson.
Maybe I don't know. But like because I don't know, heaven, ultimately, I guess even when you lie down and basically shut off the functions of the body, like your brain is still, like your thoughts are still going. So like if you visualize heaven, you basically are in heaven. Like especially like if you're meditating or something to the point where you are basically not really cognizant of the actual place where your physical form is. Like you're basically in heaven.
Do you meditate a lot?
Yeah, a decent amount.
I meditate as well. Wow, we all meditate?
Uh-huh.
Wow. When I meditate, I don't necessarily feel like I'm away from my body. I actually feel more connected to it.
Yeah, I feel more like I'm away from my body.
Really?
I mean, you can do that too. Like, there's different forms of meditation. I'm just saying, like, if you visualize something to the point where you kind of take yourself out of
biofeedback,
where you're at it, sure. Where you with biofeedback, you would be physically getting feedback. I'm saying if you visualize something in your mind and your thoughts,
it's changing your chemistry.
Sure, to the point where, for whatever reason, to the point where you've basically taken yourself out of the current place and time, like you're, for all intents and purposes, in that other place.
Yeah, I mean, well, like, so,
for
like,
me, I don't feel like I'm taken out of it. I feel like
okay, but so, like, to give an example, Chris, like, what I think maybe Champ's talking about, like, what I do, and maybe Champ does this too, I don't know. I do, like, sort of a sensory deprivation sort of meditation type thing, which basically kind of, like Champ said, it takes me, it separates me from my senses, essentially.
Oh my God, I love this topic so much.
Well, I mean, but Chris,
I love this topic so much. Do we want to continue on Simpsons?
I want to go back to Simpsons,
because my thing is, like, I really love this topic so much, and I love understanding other people's perspective on it so much that if we could, like, just jot down that we want to talk about this.
Yeah,
later,
I kind of want to say that's a better idea.
I would really love to do this. I don't mean to be like, I feel like I keep being like dismissive of it all, but I really love that you guys have a different perspective of me of this, and that you meditate.
I kind of want to do what Chris is saying, and like let's just jot down stuff that we want to talk about, and like Chris is saying, we could do like a supplemental thing at the end maybe. But I do kind of want to get through this episode because
I do want to know the full version of all this.
I think there's enough material there to make it its own episode.
Yeah.
The only other thing I was going to say on this topic,
yeah, of course.
Real quick, I guess the question I had is, you're still a filmmaker, right?
Yeah.
Why do you love film?
Oh, well, we can really get into that. One, I'm all about memetics, which is really strange that we're on a show called Meantime and discussing that there's something beyond the memes and the feedback loop of memes, biology and genetics, and thinking that there is a sort of fourth wall to all that, which is fine. Like I'm genuinely like interested in other perspectives of it, but to me, like that's all I need to define what it means to do that. And I understand that when I do certain things and I make certain people feel a certain way, that there is a feedback loop from them that feeds into my current personal feedback loop that gives me a desirable effect from both my biological standpoint and my memetic standpoint of like feeling good, because memetics are all tied to neurons, and neurons are tied to your brain, which is tied to how you get a chemical process of anything at all.
So essentially, you like telling stories to make people feel good.
Well, yeah.
You like telling stories and make people feel good.
Well, not just feel good, not just feel good.
Feel stuff. Feel stuff.
No. Here's the thing. Feel a similar feeling that I would feel from the story that I'm trying to see, and trying to find who else feels the same way as me so that I can have a dialogue with them, or with people who don't feel the same way as me so that I can have a dissonant discussion with them and we can discuss what happens when we have a collision of ideas, because at the end of the day, being a human is more than just being your thoughts, is more than just being your feelings, is more than just being your position in time, space, in this galactic fucking existence that we're all a part of. It's all of that put together.
But even like, yes, but even like you telling the story and wanting someone to feel what you feel,
right,
or wanting to express that story, what that story means to you,
right,
or in your own doing of it, or when you watch one of your favorite movies.
Yeah.
Like when you're writing, you're saying you feel something. When you're writing your own movie, like do you say, oh, there's a man walking down the street, and just like write that out? Like there's an internal process that goes on. Like you, like, you probably visualize the man in a certain time and place.
Yeah.
Doing certain things. Like you transport yourself to that world.
Here's the fun thing about my beliefs or whatever is what we're going to get into. I don't particularly like the anthropic principle, which you may have heard is an often cited dismissal of religion. I'm not a big fan of the anthropic. Are you guys aware of the anthropic principle?
It's not necessarily.
Okay, so the anthropic principle states that if you are a kind of what?
Oh, I was typing anthropic and
anthropic. And once again, I think this is a topic I'd love to discuss with you guys. I feel like we're hijacking Will's idea, and I really don't want to. But I really like talking to y'all, and I'm having a lot of fun discussing it. But the anthropic principle states that because we are an entity that is on a planet that is in a certain elliptic around the sun, that questioning why we are there is a little bit ridiculous, because that is like saying like everything on my table has crack and coke and blah blah blah. Why does it have that? It's just there. Things happen, whatever, and we have to accept a certain amount of whatever. So is time? What that gets to is time real? And the person I would suggest listening to about this, Lee Smolin on one end, and on the other end, a guy by the name of, give me a second, he's a good friend of Richard, hang on, I've got his book. I might not remember it. I'll find it later. But Lee Smolin has a book called Time Reborn, in which he discusses what time could mean if we actually understood time as something that was progressing along a forward motion instead of just being something that was infinite. Because everything that we talk about is just an infinite time. Once again, I don't want to get too bogged down. These are where my thoughts are. I'll come back real quick on why, like, film and all this, I think, matters mimetically. I think a little bit more on geological levels. I like to tell stories. I like to make people feel a certain way. And I realize that I have things that I could do or say or written or verbally that could make people feel the same way as me. They may not, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that I feel like I have something to say, and you have to express it. If you don't express it, you succumb to what we would call as the pluralistic bias, that everyone around you feels a certain way, and therefore you shouldn't speak out about what you're saying because you already know that everyone feels a certain way. However, the majority may not actually feel the way that the majority acts. The majority acts by what they think each other, the people that they know, thinks. And so if I know 16 people that feel a certain way about a subject, I will act upon, I think that those people are the majority, and so I'll just vote along with them, blah, blah, blah. I want to go forward and keep promoting the ideas that I have, because I think that perhaps not everyone feels the way that everyone else does, that religion is just the orthodoxy, that we should just accept it. Oh, it sounds real when I read it, and therefore it's real. I want to continue to promote something different. And maybe I'm wrong, I could be wrong, and I want to continue to voice that, because at the end of the day, because I don't believe in any of this other things that I would call bullshit, I don't care. At the end of the day, I don't care if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, it doesn't fucking matter to me. There isn't some celestial deity that's going to judge me at the end of the day. I'm just going to try to do the things that I think are right. And to some degree, those are dictated by my genes and by my upbringing, and a confluence of the two of those two things. And to some degree, I also have no choice. And to have no choice is to suggest that to do otherwise will make me feel worse, because I understand that there is a biofeedback. The more I try to make myself do something that my body and my emotions and my chemical balance doesn't want to do, the more I'm going to feel like I'm a piece of shit, and the more I'm going to feel depressed about life. The more that I accept the things that I feel are actually feelings that I feel, and maybe they're not always right, and I don't have to accept that that makes me who I am, then I'm going to express them and change them as I go. And that makes me happier about life. And that's why I make movies, and that's why I'm still a filmmaker, even though I'm an atheist or whatever your claim was of why I shouldn't be. I'm not really sure why that was brought up, to be completely honest, because like to pursue some like enjoyment in life never, I was thinking, was ever predicated on your beliefs one way or the other. I never questioned why an atheist might work on a science movie like The Martian, and why they ever brought up religion in the movie, even though when I heard it, I was just like, oh, okay. Don't know why it matters, but that's fine. You can be religious and still want to get to Mars. You're not negated by your beliefs. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I liked what you said. When I ask a question, like this is the reason I usually post things as questions, is because I usually have a direction that I'm going in.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've heard other people. I've either fallen into a certain way of thinking myself, which doesn't mean that we even necessarily have different ways of thinking. I'm just saying I've fallen into a certain way of thinking that didn't work for me, and I realized, or someone taught me something different, and so I just posed the question because I want to see if you're coming from that same place, or if if you're not, then I already have like my own experience to back up something. But if you're not, then I have something else to think about.
Yeah, I'm not at all. I'm not at all annoyed by the question. I think it's a fascinating question. It's just at the end of it, it does feel a little weird to have to answer it, but I do get it. I understand it. But also, like, if I can't answer this, then what do I have the point of having a fucking opinion? Like, I think if you don't have an opinion that's falsifiable, like, all of my claims I think are falsifiable. Like, everything that I think is, you could change my mind, is all I mean, like, by falsifiable. I don't mean, like, you have to present, like, fucking real-life points. Like, it just means that you have to be able to change my mind. Mm-hmm. Like you just said. Like, you want to know the other opinions. That's all I mean.
Yeah, and also, I know I don't know everything. Like, sometimes when I talk about certain things, it might sound like I think like I already know the answer or whatever, and it's not that. It's just that I've experienced enough of like a certain scenario where, from prior experience, I know how to address it. But if something different, the whole reason I like talking to different people is because I don't want to just live in my head.
Yep.
Where
100%.
I'm a totalitarian, and it doesn't matter what everyone else thinks. Like, that's what goes on in my head is the end all be all.
100% agree.
So I want to hear what other people say, because that's also usually how I find new truths. Is because someone shows me something, says something that rings more true to me than whatever I was thinking before. It's like, well, obviously that is a better something than what I had.
It's a sad fact of how we've been sort of taught our entire lives, or that facts are something that aren't meant to be questioned, right? Like, facts are not like immutable. No one ever says like a fact is like something that 100% happens, right? If I plant a seed in the ground, even though we know it's a fact that a seed is how you get a tree, it doesn't mean you get a tree from it, right? But there are a lot of people who would say it's a fact that if you put a seed in the ground, you'll get a tree. You have to do a lot of shit to make a tree grow from the seed. Yeah, and people don't understand that that's a fact, even though it's a fact that has some limitations. It's not 100% a true statement to say a seed makes a tree. A seed doesn't always make a tree. People don't want to think about that. You know what I mean?
I mean, the other direction I was going to go in, but I didn't. I was going to leave it.
Go for it.
This
We're already beyond the Simpsons.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to try to let us go back to the Simpsons, but since we've gone this far, the only other thing that I was going to say about stuff you had said before is when you're like, William, are you? Hey, trouble with the camera.
Every 10 minutes, we need to have that happen.
When you say like,
too hard.
As a living being, in this time on this planet in this universe, like outside of probably the four walls in the, or I don't know, however, the living dining room that you're sitting in, that at least I've experienced before. So unless something's changed, that's where I'm assuming you're at. Then how do you even know that? Like you can't. How do you even, you know? You've experienced the direct out of doors from that apartment, but beyond the actual physical spaces that you've experienced, like how do you even know that we're, you know, on a spherical planet? Like,
right, the Nietzsche approach, right? Like,
you've seen pictures of Earth, but
unfortunately,
have you actually seen?
I mean, I think that's reductionist ad absurdum. Right? Like at a certain point, you have to accept that there are some things that are so repeatable that they are the truth. Yeah. How do you know we're not just a program, a really highly intellectual program that, like, hey, look, maybe the Mormons made a program to find out what it would be like to be in a world where Mormonism wasn't real.
Well, but Mormonism is real. Like, it's a thing.
It's Israel, in fact. Zionists proved.
Have you seen pictures of Mormons, though?
Yeah,
I've met Mormons. I've met Mormons.
How do you know that those pictures were real, though, Champ? You were just talking about that. How do you know that?
And also, if I go to Google and type in Mormonism,
that might have been pictures of Catholics who were.
All that Chris said is that Mormonism isn't real. If I go to Google and type in Mormonism, there's a whole Wikipedia page about Mormonism. Like, it's a real thing.
No. That the tenets of Mormonism were not real.
But those are real.
No. Listen
to what I'm saying.
Listen to what I'm saying. In the other world that we do not exist in, the Mormon tenets that God was from another planet, came down here and did some weird shit with some people.
Is real.
But
we're in a program where they're not.
And they programmed a program simulation in which Mormonism isn't real but is talked about, so they could find out what it would happen if Mormonism wasn't real, where Mitt Romney didn't become president of the United States because God deemed it necessary.
But in this simulation that for the time being we exist in, I'm going to accept that we exist in, I'm reading the Mormon tenets right now. Like,
what he's saying,
but they're not real. You can't.
What he's saying, Champ, is what he's saying is if they're written down, but that doesn't make them real.
They are real, though. They already exist.
No, it doesn't mean that they're true, though. It doesn't mean that they're true.
You're reducing it to ad absurdum.
That's different. You said that they're true.
Well, you're just arguing semantics here, though. You're just arguing semantics.
What? That's
Champ, what?
You're just arguing semantics.
Really,
okay.
I'm the one drinking here.
Okay, all right.
And you don't get what I'm saying?
No, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying.
Why are you arguing against it if you get it? Like, add something new to it.
Because, yeah, I'm arguing semantics, but it's something that I think that is important on a grander scale. Like,
well, okay, fair enough. But what I was suggesting was what I was doing was trying to add flavor to what we were talking about. What if we are? If you can't, that's fine. If you just reject it and you're going to argue semantics until I can no longer argue a hypothetical at all, because all hypotheticals rely on a linguistic trick that you just refuse to accept. What I'm saying is you can accept the linguistic tricks for the moment. I get that the linguistic tricks I'm using, when applied to our real world position, real world right now, I guess, meaning the position at which we're at, which means that like I think, therefore I am, which really is ridiculous because you don't think, you never choose to think. Things just think inside of your mind and you choose whether or not they're thought or not. But hey, let's not get into that. Whoa, too far.
Right.
What I'm saying is, let's just
thought,
take
though.
a second. Wait, what?
They're all thought. All the things that you think are thought.
But not just the things you think, the things that you feel. All the
Those
light coming into you. Every light right now, champ, that you're seeing is a thought.
Yeah, it exists.
So what I was suggesting, so all I'm suggesting, champ, is that for a moment we just separate that and accept for a moment, what if we were in a simulation in which the Mormons had designed a world which we currently would reside in which Mormonism wasn't an absolute truth, maybe approximate truth, I guess, if you're happy with that. But this was created by a world in which we absolutely knew without a shadow of a doubt, like we know that if you jump up in the air, that gravity will affect you and bring you back down. Can we at least agree to that in the proximate terms? Hey, guess what? In 1,000 years, it'll be different. In 1,000,000 years, gravity will be different. But right now, the truth of gravity is that it's 9.65 or whatever the fuck. Right? Can we just agree to that for a moment?
Mm-hmm.
Are there some things we can agree to for a little bit, or no? Are we just going to say that everything's abstract and pointless?
I mean, I can agree that, as far as I know, until I actually do it.
Like with your hand right now.
What?
It's against the bed instead of floating up.
Yeah.
So you know that gravity is affecting your hand, right? Like you're not that crazy to suggest that. Okay, you don't know that gravity is affecting.
I was gonna say.
Oh my god. This is what we're doing.
Hold on, Chris.
Is this really what we're doing?
All I was gonna say is that I know that something is affecting me.
But we're calling it gravity. We're calling it gravity.
Without directing myself.
I already stated that facts change, right? Like I've already given the fact that facts change. Like I don't know what else is needed.
I feel like this isn't getting productive anymore.
It really isn't.
I feel like let's go back to The Simpsons for right now because I feel like this has gotten less productive as we've gone on.
It's so unproductive.
Okay,
the only thing
you won't admit anything. You'll admit to no truths.
No, I know that there
that
are
Zionists
truths.
Are bad.
I know that there are truths that, in my experience, no,
like
I don't even know that. Like there are probably Zionists that are good, that are falling like in an even smaller. There's probably like one guy who invented tenets that exist because he wrote them down.
I believe in memes, but not in gravity.
I believe. Well, but yeah, I mean, like, but see, that's the problem. Is like, I believe in like.
How much Nietzsche did you read?
I've never actually.
Like, how much postmodernism have you ingested at this point?
I read like 2 pages of a Nietzsche book.
And just accepted it all?
No, because I don't really know. I didn't really.
So just postmodernism, ad hoc postmodernism.
I mean, I don't even. I don't know what your definition is of postmodernism. Like
exactly my point. Oh shit.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, no. Okay, this is not productive anymore.
Wait. Just because you said I want to correct. I just want to correct something because I misspoke. Like when you say like gravity.
I call for this shit.
When you say like
gravity, what do I mean?
Whether I accept gravity, like yeah, I do, because that is the word that is associated with the experience of that. But beyond the word what is gravity? Like, I don't know what gravity is. What's gravity?
But again, like, this is why I'm saying it's not getting productive, because we're getting into this, like, Chris is trying to talk about an action, like, we're getting into this, like, you're not accepting you're kind of arguing semantics into the point where you're not accepting what Chris is saying when Chris is just trying to have a normal, like a basic conversation about certain truths, and then you're getting into like, well, I don't know if those truths are actually aligning with it, and then Chris is getting angry. It's like not getting productive at this
I'm
point.
not getting angry.
Not angry, but you're getting
frustrated,
belligerent,
and I'm not
frustrated in the inability to just make a.
I know, and that's why I'm saying this. That's why I'm saying this isn't getting productive because it's
I'm okay with arguing what gravity means, but I only wanted to talk about what a simulation world would have existed as, and all that means is that we have to accept that right now we have a baseline that gravity exists. All religions are unprovable to some degree, and that all I was suggesting was that if there was a religion that was provable to be real, and it was Mormonism, and they created a simulation in which what we're experiencing is the experience right now, Mormonism is not provable to be true. That was all I was trying to say.
Okay. And that I accept. Like I just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to I wanted to define the terms because you're asking me to suspend disbelief, which
for a moment.
But okay.
I want to when you ask me to do something like that, I want to actually go along with what you're saying. So when you ask me to suspend disbelief and you ask me to imagine a scenario, I want to make sure that I'm imagining it correctly so we're on the same page.
Okay.
So when you say
the issue comes whenever he says when he's just talking about gravity, you know what he means, but then you're basically saying let's define it, and it gets unproductive whenever you're like let's define every single word that we're talking about.
Which is why I corrected myself. I made I went off on I made too big of a deal of a tangent. I accept that what we call gravity is a thing.
Yeah. Like what? But and once again, I'm agreeing with you that they change. Once again, I don't want to say that this couldn't change, that gravity's meaning couldn't change. All I meant was that while it may change, we now understand
that we have to.
Exactly.
We have to work from in order to have any discussion.
Yeah. Right now, as far as we know, gravity means a certain thing. That's all I meant. It absolutely, you could be correct, but all I meant was we all understand what gravity means right now. And we all understand that, no religion could be verified. No matter what verity or, importance of the religion, none of them could be verified. As much as they can't be, exonerated or, proven false, none of them could be proven true, right? Or am I wrong?
I mean, that...
Could any religion be proven by what we accept as proof today, which is, fecundity, replicability of facts? No religion could be proven true right now. I'm not saying your religion's false. They could be true in the long run. I don't know the life. I don't know the world. I could be wrong. But no religion could be proven true.
I would agree with that. But I think we're getting...
I mean, yeah. I don't want to get too far.
Without unraveling too much, just
for argument's sake.
The only because it's something that is important to me.
Okay.
That words have meaning, and that thought and that thought is
action.
I mean, yeah, thought drives action, but that
what words are being used are going to shape the thoughts that you have, which are going to shape the discussion that you're having.
But just for argument's sake, could you say that Mormonism could be proven true today? Whether or not it could be proven true later, could you prove that Mormonism is true? Is there anything you could do to proposition a falsifiability of Mormonism and test its falsifiability? the main tenets of Mormonism?
I mean, possibly, but
I really don't think that you can say yes to that.
I work from the assumption that anything is a possibility.
Right, but
like,
I think what he's saying is there.
But can you?
Like, is there anything that can you think of something right at this moment, anything that could be said or done that is a possibility that's going to happen?
Just for the argument, like, it doesn't matter. Like,
it would absolutely prove
we can
religion to be true,
if
no
it would
matter
make
what.
you feel better, we can go to Scientology, or we can go to like the
Waco
guy. All right, what's the Waco guy? David Koresh.
David Koresh, Branch Davidian.
Is there anything that could prove the Branch Davidians to have the true edicts of life?
I mean, that's the problem. Is like, even like this ties into everything we've been discussing. Like, it ties into what our differing understandings.
Do you think there are no absolutes in the world? Are there any absolutes?
I mean, even that, yes and no. Like,
yes and no,
because
there's either one absolute or there are none. It's binary.
No, because well, I mean, it
is. It really
yeah,
is.
it is. The binary, there you go. It's a binary. Fine, it's a binary decision. But like, I guess you can
let's just apply it to humanity.
You can reduce anything. Fine, you can reduce anything to a binary decision, I guess. But with an either or option.
It's not a binary decision. It's a binary truth. What does a smile mean to humans? Is it true that only women can become pregnant?
No.
No? Who can become pregnant besides women?
From my understanding, no.
Okay, who can become pregnant besides women?
I mean, other species are unisexual, asexual.
Oh, sorry. In the
male,
in the human, I said in the human realm. In the human realm.
From my personal experience, I don't know of anything other than women that can become pregnant. But that's the thing, is when you ask me about absolutes, like, because working from my own personal experience and beliefs, like, if I just choose to believe and rationalize it to myself
that you can have a baby.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Try and have a baby. Oh my God! If you could have a baby, you'd win the Nobel Prize.
Yeah, I probably would, because it would probably.
So do it.
From my understanding, it would probably. But I don't have that much interest in winning the Nobel Prize. I don't have that much personal interest in winning the Nobel Prize. From my personal experience, if I put enough scientific work into developing a way for men to have a baby, then yeah, I probably would win a Nobel Prize, because that would take a lot of work, as far as I know.
But at what point would he become a woman?
He might not have to be.
Really? I mean, you don't think that you would have to, like, change your basic, like, testosterone levels, your zygotes, your genetic basis? Like, there's no genetic basis for you.
No. That's not.
Will is just like, we're supposed to watch The Simpsons.
Just at this point, like, without actually testing it out personally. Like, if I watch the movie Junior, I don't know. I haven't seen the movie Junior.
This is so weird. I don't know how you're the religious one and I'm not.
I don't know how Arnold Schwarzenegger gets pregnant in the movie Junior, but like,
that's a fake movie, right?
It's a movie.
Nothing in that happened in real life.
I mean, I didn't even know that because I haven't seen the movie.
Okay, but you haven't seen the movie, and you're using it as an excuse. What? You haven't seen the movie, and you think that it could happen in real life.
No. All I'm saying is
why
that...
are you saying it? Then why are you saying it? This is not a discussion in what we could imagine. Hey, look, I can imagine that can I give birth to a pig?
I don't know.
I can imagine it. Champ, I can imagine giving birth to a pig. Can it happen? How much? Wait, how much? What's that guy who hated Katy Perry?
Well,
Russell Brand.
In that sense,
how much Russell Brand have you watched?
In that sense,
how much Russell Brand have you watched?
When you describe can you have a pig
as a baby?
And then talking about imagining it like that, I started imagining it. So it happened.
And it happened? Are you pregnant with a fucking pig right now?
In my mind, no, but in my mind you had a pig.
Oh my gosh.
You had a pig in my mind.
Wait. And to be honest, you are a dualist, though. You believe there's a soul. For simplification purposes, yes. You're a contradiction inside of a contradiction. Like, have you heard of stacks on stacks?
No.
You have cognitive dissonance on top of cognitive dissonance on top of like narrative bias. You're just a bundle of confusion.
Yeah, because I'm just saying that.
You're saying that nothing is real.
I'm saying everything.
Yeah, you are. That's absolutely what you're saying. You don't even know. You can't even understand that you
in my personal experience, everything.
What a great way to indict the entire world is by your personal experience.
But that's all I know is my own personal experience.
Exactly, and why would you extrapolate your entire personal experience on top of the rest of the world? I've tripped on shrooms and thought that I lived in a fucking tent on the fucking like savannah for 13 years.
See, you just told me that happened, so I'm not indicting anything.
It didn't happen.
That means that it happened.
It happened.
That means that it did happen.
No. Oh my God! You listened to like half of Nietzsche and half of like Immanuel Kant and said I got it all figured out.
No, I don't have.
Yeah, you did.
I don't have anything figured out.
You sound like you did.
I don't know. All I know is the collection of what exists as my understanding within.
What have you done to expand your understanding? Will is asleep. He's done. All right. Do you want to watch The Simpsons?
Yeah, we can go back to Simpsons.
I want to go back.
I want to talk.
Like now, I think we're stuck.
But I do want to talk more about this.
I know, but I feel like right now the discussion's not productive at all.
I agree. I'm sorry, Will.
Maybe it needs to.
We can do the whiskey hypothesis, right?
Yeah. Well, why don't you have Champ on?
I need to. I enjoy your thoughts, Champ. I don't mean to sound like I'm being like an asshole to you. I love talking like this, by the way.
Okay. Well, let's. Why don't you invite Champ onto your show?
I will.
Continue this discussion.
Sorry, all right. I will.
All right. Okay. All right.
I really don't want to sound like I'm being dismissive.
Okay.
You, Champ.
All right.
I like your thoughts.
All right. I'm at 9:49. Where are y'all at?
I'm at 9:49.
9:49.
Yeah, I'm same place.
Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Going. Uh-oh. Yes. The Romans.
So there's I raised a wuss.
We'll talk about it at the end, I guess.
Yeah. We can save that for the end. I'll write it down.
The fuck? Wait, pause you guys. I gotta pee. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I apologize.
Same.
I should have peed before you unapologized. before you unpaused. You guys can talk. I'm sorry. I hijack it.
Yeah. How long has this gone on so far?
I don't know, but I feel like I'm probably gonna have to edit it now because we're set with dead silence for like a minute or so.
I know. Well, I'm gonna, like I said, I'm probably gonna put the. I guess I can just edit it down to certain things.
I'm gonna have to like split this in two because like, alright, let me see how long it's going. Like, this is gonna be really long as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Realize there's only 10 minutes of actual stuff left.
What do you mean there's only 10 minutes of actual stuff left?
I said the episode's like 21 minutes. I think we're on like minute 10.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant they can only record. Well, yeah, I think from now on we're gonna have to just hold off on long-term discussion until the end, maybe.
Yeah, we're at 2 hours now.
Yeah, so alright, so we'll I think we need to hold off on the very long-term discussions now because we're probably gonna have
2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're at 2 hours. I think we're just gonna have to barrel through the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best. Okay.
Without like, we'll probably interject something at some point, but we're probably just gonna have to barrel through the last 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Fair enough.
Okay. All right. So 3, 2, 1, start.
But see, that's a critique of it.
I would say this. You know.
Okay, but all right, what the fuck just happened there? 1932. Oh, indictment on schools.
I mean, after like this is all like there's a somewhat valid critique that they're not totally like they more or less address it. Like when I went to this place in San Antonio called Haven for Hope, which is supposed to be a place for homeless people, like it looked like a prison from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
This is also a good critique, I think.
Yeah.
Also, empathy is overrated. Psychopaths also feel empathy in a different way. Damn. B.F. Skinner.
Whether they intended to do it or not, like.
Let's go ahead. We can go ahead and pause it just real quick. Go ahead. What were you saying, Champ?
Pause.
Well, I was gonna say is like whether they intended it or not, like without, I guess, without forcing it, um, like in the case of like the drug war, like rehabilitation would be better than just locking up nonviolent offenders.
Well, one of the things that they say, I don't know if it's this episode or another one, but they basically and they kind of hinted at it here with him, where he was kind of complaining about his father being a psychologist. There's actually going to be there's a quote in one of the other episodes where they say something about how, you know, I don't remember what he says, but something happens that's not very productive, and he says that's the most anyone's ever gotten out of therapy and stuff like that. It seems like that's another thing that's been a kind of a common thread in some of these episodes, is that therapy does nothing for you and it's worthless, and there's nothing good coming from talking about your feelings and stuff like that.
Well, they kind of even did that in an older episode where Marge does the therapy for flying, and he says, "Oh, a therapist. All she's gonna do is turn husbands against wives, children against fathers, everyone against me."
Neighbors against me, yeah. But like even in that episode, she got benefit from her therapy. Whereas in these episodes, they make it seem like therapy is something that has no benefit whatsoever.
But to be fair, most therapy is bullshit.
It probably kind of depends on the what the therapy is, and who is the subject of it. Like I know
most therapy bunks like actual neuroscience and doesn't want to like actually accept it, much like your brother Champ over there.
All right, let's go back to playing it here. So,
joking.
3,
a 2, joke,
1, play.
Okay. Organized religion. Is this a new Doctor? Sounds like the new Doctor from Doctor Who.
I still haven't seen any of the new episodes.
What an asshole. Peter Capaldi. He was in Peep's Show. The professor that Mark went when he was chasing after that girl from the shoe store. I'm a Peep Show fucking nerd. Someone told him. His wife died. Because you killed his wife.
Ned Flanders?
Didn't he kill his wife? Didn't Homer kill his wife?
Oh, a car exploded and hit her with a tire and threw her off of a stand at like a NASCAR stadium.
Oh, I thought it was like the shirt gun.
Yeah, it was the shirt gun.
Wait, then who died from the car hitting him with the tire?
I don't even like this show, and I know more than you.
Well, that's getting into the bad episodes.
I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that is the bad episodes.
Obviously you do, because apparently I'm wrong about that.
Yeah, it was the shirt gun that killed her, and that was Homer's fault.
I've watched a lot of this show. I do like the show. I'm just not like the hugest fan.
But again,
once again, I'm an atheist who doesn't like to claim atheism. So
y'all are on a commercial now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But anyways, I did want to point out that one of the things Homer said was he hated Ned Flanders because he's better than him at everything. Which
religion.
What?
Religion.
Well, it kind of strikes me as like the conservative message of like, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and stuff like that. Like it's not good to
Well, but it goes back to the way that it was worded in the show. Like, yeah, I mean, Homer at this point in time, the way that he's been written, states that he hates Ned Flanders because he's better than him and everything. Like, it's because he does things that, or at least from what I'm getting, it's ultimately when he says that he means, and because of what the other people said, it's because he does things in such a way that more people like him, and things work out better for him. And just to go into the religion thing without, suspending, again, what you have, or anyone has been told about religion, like just from, at least in this example, the way that is the way the show's written, the way that Flanders applies his religious beliefs works out that he has apparently been more successful than Homer, and people like him more. So I mean, in that regard, like if you actually apply the tenets, like at least probably the easiest one to apply to this is when Jesus and the Ten Commandments say, "Love thy neighbor as yourself." If you treat your neighbors the way that you want to be treated and the way that you feel that you're worth, then, especially if that's good, like if you treat yourself well and you extend that to others and treat them well, then it's, except for the occasional hater, like most people are gonna appreciate and like you.
Call me a hater.
No, I'm saying, I mean, no, because like even if you're like saying, even if you're like speaking about religion in a disparaging way, or like in a tone that sounds like disparaging.
Do y'all have it playing right now? I'm sorry. I'm watching the episode.
I pause it. Like if someone's nice to you and they don't mention religion, like, do you hate that person?
Always.
What?
Always.
Okay, well, I mean,
I'm just kidding. No, I don't care.
Yeah, but you like people who
don't say it.
Yeah, whether you don't preach about it. Okay, but like ignoring the religious aspect, if people are nice to you,
if I can,
do you like that? Why are you friends with William?
I'm not particularly nice to Chris, though, to be fair.
I actually really enjoy people who aren't nice to me, is the thing.
Okay, but but like William doesn't like steal shit from you.
Oh yeah.
Like y'all have a rapport.
What should be more important is I don't steal shit from him. I'm not the religious one. Religious people are the ones who have like the moral advantage, right?
There are a lot of religious people who act that way.
Wait, what? Why are they that way? I thought they were religious.
I mean, but there are religious people who speak from a moral.
Why would they do that?
Advantage. Why would they do that?
Why would they steal stuff if they're religious?
I mean, a lot of people.
Are you saying they're not really religious?
No, I'm saying. Well, I mean, we could.
By stealing stuff not a religious act?
Well, I mean.
What about land?
You have to define religious.
What happens when you want the land and the Zionists have it?
If you want the land?
And the Zionists have it. Should you just take it from them?
No.
By force?
No, because I don't want someone to take.
What if you want to bomb them?
By force.
Okay, so if you want to bomb them in order to reclaim the land that you feel like you were properly owned? Will is shaking his head like, where are we going?
Wanting.
It's wrong? So Hamas is wrong.
I mean,
Who owns it now? What is ownership?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like,
I mean, where do you live right now, and who should live there?
From my From
God is so pissed that you live where you live. I know this. Do you know how I know this? I have a personal belief with God. And he tells me that living wherever you live is wrong.
Okay.
Prove it. Prove that I'm wrong.
I can't.
Exactly. And so I'm going to kill you. It's actually my belief to kill you in order to get that land.
Okay. Like,
So it's okay that I believe that?
I mean, I don't
Well, you're wrong.
think it is.
Welcome to hell.
What, being wrong all the time?
Well,
Or being
synonymous with religion.
or being told that I'm wrong all the time, because I get told that I'm
those
wrong
are both
an
synonymous
awful
with
lot.
religion.
Like, if that's hell, then I guess I've come to accept hell.
Yeah.
But I also don't view it as hell, so then it goes back
Well,
to...
you don't view it as hell, but it will slowly become hell. Will is so upset. He's like, can we just watch this?
I'm just bored.
You're bored by this?
Yeah.
This is like the most interesting conversation you could have in your entire life, Will. And you find it boring.
I'm not part of this conversation.
Because you choose to opt out of it because you don't think it applies to you. You want, hey, champ, can we just like direct this at Will and make him feel like a part of it? Hey, Will, where'd your shirt come from?
You can, but I would ask, I mean, the question I'd ask is why are you choosing to opt out?
Because I'm finding this not a productive conversation.
Towards what?
Towards well, I don't think it's leading towards anything, which is why I don't.
Well, here's the thing. Actually, what's been proven by scientific studies is that while educating people and uplifting them consciously makes an individual aware of a situation, it doesn't change their output into society. Whereas discussion and discourse amongst each other personally actually produces more measurable output into society that is measurable than the uplifting of consciousness through means like Black Lives Matter. And I don't mean to dismiss Black Lives Matter.
I would imagine that's probably
no,
true.
It's not probably true. It's true.
Okay.
That makes sense.
I believe that. I can buy that.
That makes sense to me. That sounds reasonable to me. That sounds...
It doesn't dismiss Black Lives Matter, though. Black Lives Matter is still important. But we also have to discuss things interpersonally. Will's done. Will's like throwing up in his crotch.
No, I was.
The second you throw
my sock.
The second you start throwing up on your genitals, you're done.
I had a quick question for William. Like, why do you do meme time? Like, why are you on here?
Because
why am I
on here? For the reason that Chris.
There's no implications there.
For the reason that Chris just said.
Because discourse is more measurable to productivity, to improving society.
Yeah.
So I mean, then
I believe that.
So then, like this discussion, like whether you choose to opt in or not, like you don't have to. But like when you're saying you feel like it's not productive, like even if Chris and I even if we end the show with Chris and I having not changed.
Though honestly, you've changed my mind about a lot of things. I don't.
No. Okay.
You've opened my mind to a lot of like different avenues. I don't mean to dismiss them just by disagreeing with you in other areas. Like
I know. Okay.
I found this incredibly like uplifting and interesting. By the way.
Okay. Yeah, y'all want to turn it on me, so give me a chance to get myself here. No. All right. No. Okay. All right. No, that's fine. I think that most of what we've been talking about today is productive. I think that it's getting to a point though that every time we pause it, that y'all get to a point where it's more it's y'all are both talking about things. I don't even think y'all are talking about the same thing half the time now.
Okay, fair enough.
And so that's why I don't think it's productive.
Okay.
Is because I feel like Chris will be saying one thing and Champ will be saying something completely different.
Fair enough.
And y'all have to come back together and go, wait, no, hold on, we're on different pages. We need to.
Now, unfortunately, that is discussion, but
that is discussion, but
I do understand what you're saying.
You still have to find a ground where you're both talking about the same thing to kind of make it a fruitful discussion. And if
I agree.
you're talking about A and Champ's talking about B, and there's no commonality between the two, then it starts to get to a point where it's you're just having two individual soliloquies instead of this discourse.
I think to some degree we've come to a lot of common ground.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think we brought it together. Like, I mean,
He doesn't want to admit that my idea of what if we were in a world in which we were programmed by Mormons trying to figure out if Mormonism wasn't real, what would the world look like? Because that is what the world we looks like, was merely a rhetorical device of any given religion you could state.
And also the other thing I'm going to say, I'm sorry to cut you off, Chris.
No, I don't care.
The other reason why I would say, why I would also probably say is that it might seem sort of somewhat not productive, is because I think if somebody was watching this, they would probably get kind of bored like I was getting, and not want to continue watching. But I'm probably more interested in this conversation than most people would be, and I was kind of getting bored with it.
I don't care about most people.
Yeah, but like if we actually want somebody to get,
there are 3 people watching this show, bro.
No, I agree with that.
There are like less than 3 people watching this show, bro. We don't have to worry about that. You're worrying about something that doesn't matter.
No, I know.
You literally are. You can keep arguing this. You can.
I would like more than the audience of Meme Time to be the people who participate in Meme Time, ideally.
Yeah, but what you're arguing is not the reality, so it doesn't matter.
That's probably true.
Unless and until you change the dichotomy, it doesn't matter. Like this is a place for all of us to just talk, and I don't know.
No, I know that's fine, and that's why I'm not telling you guys to shut up.
I understand. I'm just arguing against your point.
I know, and that's fine.
I'm saying like your point is moot because honestly. Who's watching this right now?
Nobody is watching this.
No one.
Yeah.
So, you claimed you were going to cut it up later, but
I'm probably not going to.
Yeah, exactly. So what's the point of any of that?
I was going to say something that just
go for it.
Because having answered my question, what I assume was probably the answer that you would give, but just when you said like to add discourse that ultimately, probably makes more, provides something productive to the world. Like even if like one person, possibly the thing that says one viewer, I don't know if that is one of us. I don't know how that works, but
my girlfriend was watching for a while.
Well,
was she?
If she gets value out of this. If your girlfriend or like anyone else who even views like 10 minutes of it gets something of value of it, then like
that's the point.
I'm good with that. Like if they like skip around, if they're like, fuck, this thing's 2 hours, and they watch like the first 5 minutes and then skip ahead an hour and listen to
I thought they were talking about Simpsons. That's what I tuned
listen to that. Then like when they get something from anywhere in the 2 hours, then that's all that matters to me.
Okay, all right,
but
fair enough.
I accept the fact that it having run 2 hours, there are people who will immediately like click on the link and immediately dismiss it.
But guess what?
It's 2 hours.
But guess what? How many times have I just clicked through something and listened to something halfway through? So many times.
Too.
So my point is that someone could click through and find an interesting point because I think we've had interesting discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've had like discourse that matters to life beyond where we are right now. And I think regardless of what you think of the afterlife, that like imbuing the people who are here with some symbolism of honesty into what it was like to be here when we were here is an important aspect of being here when we are here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, fuck, I could be wrong, you could be wrong, Will could be wrong, all of us could be fucking wrong about this shit. In 100 years, they could see, like, my atheism as barbaric. That's fine. Like, What am I going to do about that? I can't do anything about it. This is what I believe. This is what I think. I can't change that, right? Like, I can't just, like, think, oh, you know what? Champ said this, and it really changed my mind. And just because, like, I saw that, and I was like, it's weird that I think this, I should change everything about my life. You're not going to change my mind that fast. I was Catholic for a long time. What were you guys raised?
Episcopalian.
Episcopalian.
So I was raised Catholic, like, you
Basically
know.
the same thing.
Really? I don't know.
They're very close.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Episcopalian's like the Protestant Catholicism, basically.
It's like not Lutheran, but like Lutheran hardcore.
I don't really know what Lutheran is. I just know that Episcopalian's basically
Lutheran
basically Catholic light, sort of.
Oh, well, Lutheran is basically like Catholicism sub all of the things that make Catholicism like a little bit scary, right? Like they don't tell you that women can't be priests. They don't tell you this or that. Like,
yeah, that's kind of Episcopalian. We have women bishops and gay bishops.
Right? Yeah. Like, which to me, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna offend some motherfuckers, makes it very apparent that this religion bends to the will of humanity.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Well,
I would say that there's probably I mean, considering how many different sects of Protestantism there is, pretty much somebody will make one that they can fit into if one doesn't exist, and then people will go to that one.
Well, but yeah, and my personal problem with Catholicism is that like you said, that it bends to the will of one man, like the Pope. Yeah, it all comes down to the Pope.
But here's the thing. This is gonna sound so ridiculous, but one of the things that like led me towards like admitting my atheism, because for the longest time I was just like, I'm a relapsed Catholic, because that was the cool thing to be, right? And it's not a cool thing to be, but like that was what happens when you're Catholic, but you don't want to admit that you don't believe in anything. Is this if you say like, I'm a relapsed Catholic, I don't like go to church, I don't do these things, but I like still enjoy like few things feel as good as going to a church to me and smelling the incense and just hanging out. You know what feels that good? Smoking weed and lighting an incense and just hanging out and listening to like Matt Berry go, oh. Like that's as good to me as going to church. But to that point, I went and I tried to like hit on a bunch of girls downtown because I was trying to get laid. And so many of them were Catholics who didn't believe in evolution. And I was a real, like, I'm not a Catholic, but I'm a Catholic person for the longest time. And I rested upon the fact that Catholicism accepted evolution. And then I learned that the majority, from my experience, including people that I'm not going to mention here that are close to me, did not know that Catholicism had, since like 1995, accepted that evolution, which, by the way, that's a long time to have taken to accept evolution. Evolution was at the same time, like, Abraham Lincoln was born at the same time as Darwin, same year. One was the great emancipator, and one was one who created the states that fought each other. And if you don't get that joke, I apologize. It's a little bit of a walk. Yeah, it's a little bit of a walk. Evolution emancipated all of us because we understood that evolution doesn't work on the terms that like everyone seems to think. Like, black people aren't different from white people. Mexicans aren't different from white people. Mexicans aren't different from black people. We have subtle differences that are important, like if you are black, you are more likely to be a victim of sickle cell anemia and you need to get checked out for it. You know, if you're a white male, you're more likely to have like heart problems than a white female. You know, like there are differences amongst the genders and the skin tones, but they're not the same as what like people would like to claim races mean. Like the intelligence level of the black male has nothing to do with being black. The intelligence level of the white male has nothing to do with being white. Um, you could proximately find that like intelligent people who have sex with other intelligent people produce intelligent children. Sure, that will happen. But then you find that when those intelligent people then have babies with other intelligent people, well, they may not have intelligent babies. Like evolution doesn't work like just on a one-to-one, like transmutative basis as you think they have. Like there are um, issues that are proximate to your where you're living. If you live in a smog-based world, your baby might not be as intelligent, etc., etc. So if you live in a population-dense area, and then you have sex with an intellectually stupid person, and there's smog, and you can't afford to feed them the proper amount of food while you're having the baby, they're going to be stupid. I'm sorry. They're just going to be. Genetically, they've been giving, let's say one of the parents were smart, the other one was stupid. Most often, the male was smart and the female was stupid. I think you could find that quite across the board, that like females look for status.
You're gonna make me go into like such a big. You're gonna make me open up such a big can of worms.
Yeah, but it's fine. I'm okay with that. Should we finish this episode and then go? I'm okay with that can of worms. I actually think that it's a fairly decent can of worms to open. But I think it's a can of worms that doesn't suggest anything other than we don't understand evolution the way we think we do. Because I wasn't saying that like just because a girl is stupid that we make a stupid baby, or just because a man is smart we make a smart baby.
No,
but go ahead.
The reason I'm saying it's going to open up a big can of worms is because I agree with pretty much everything you said. All I was going to do is add a few nuances to it that would probably mire us in some small.
And I'll probably agree with it. I might agree with it actually.
Yeah, I mean, all I was going to say specifically germane to evolution is that, like I guess in the last, I don't even know how long it's actually been accepted on a large level, but epigenetic, the concept of epigenetics is more.
We're gonna have a problem there. We're gonna have a very strong problem. But go ahead.
Okay. Is becoming more and more accepted, which is that the gene is not the ultimate determiner of the personal development of a person. That everything that the person's exposed to in their environment.
Yep.
In
Here, go ahead.
It defines the development of that person up even to the point where, when they have a kid, their genome they were born with is not the same, is not expressed the same way as the genome that they're expressing when they have the kid. And so they're not gonna there's not even necessarily really a possibility that they could pass along the same genes they were born with.
Oh, absolutely. And here's what I would have to say with that. Two things. First off, what you are giving genetically still is a limiter. You know what I mean? Like you still have a circle at which you can't escape. You know what I mean? Like you're never going, like if you are not the kind of person who can, this is a really weak argument, but I'm just going to say it so that we can continue the discussion. But let's say it's a runner, right? you're a strong runner and you run a lot and you are more likely to develop a kid who has the genes for running, correct? That's epigenetics 101, right? That's what they suggest. Is that correct or not correct?
It's probably more likely that.
This is what I'm asking. All I'm asking is if you're a runner who's really good at running, epigenetics suggests that the child you will have is a good runner. Is that not what you're saying? What are you trying to say? Is what I'm asking.
It's probably more like you'll pass on genes that are more conducive to being a good runner.
That is my argument. Is what does it mean to have genes that are conducive towards something, vis-a-vis your paternal and your maternal genetic sequencing? You don't know the alleles, alleles that are also potentially going to get passed on, because alleles are going to become active when? Do you know when they become active? When does an allele become active?
When the DNA is unwound to a point where the allele can be expressed as a protein.
And what causes it to not?
It is expressed as a protein.
And what causes that other gene to not be expressed?
I mean,
it's a bit of a factor of location, right?
Yeah. How much?
Exactly. That's all I mean. Yeah. So all I'm saying is you don't know. There's no one-for-one like epigenetics. I'm not dismissing epigenetics because I do think they're very important, and they do like imbue point mutations are important. It's so important. Ugh, so important. But epigenetics is also important. But the expression of the epigenetics is not 100% correct, or am I wrong?
The expression of epigenetics or genetics?
Epigenetics. Genetics are 100%.
Well, yeah.
You are either going to get the allele or the expressed gene from a parent. Then you have another parent who you're either going to get the expressed gene or the allele from in a certain combination, right? Yeah. Is this true?
Yeah.
So there is no epigenetics. There is a potentiality for epigenetics to affect your genetics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So all I'm suggesting is there isn't like, sorry.
Sure.
There is sometimes a expression in which people who are, I hate the term racist. Once again, I return to my anti-isms. I also don't like to call people racist, but there is a somewhat racist epidemiology of if you have the black genes will express themselves no matter what, right? And that's a misnomer. And I'm not saying you're wrong or you're stupid for suggesting that epigenetics is important, because it's absolutely important. But two things of that. One, we don't know which one will be expressed. The epigenetic change that you've incurred as the progenitor who is passing along the gene, or your allele. But we also don't know what the point mutation of the gene will be. You know what I mean?
I mean,
yes. And in a fourth one, we don't know what the combinatory factors are, because there is no gene for anything that we know of right now. Like, let's say like the gay gene. They think they may have found a gay gene, but there's also proof that homosexual feelings may be a feeling conceived in the womb, which is the female rejecting the male or the female at that point in time and hindering the, what do you call that, back by your spinal cord. But anyway.
Cerebellum?
No, I think it's the, maybe, I don't know. Doesn't matter. Whatever it is back by your spinal cord, that the, every gay person has a lower version of that. It's like shrunk. That could be genetic, but it also could be an in vitro, in the womb function. And it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I brought up epigenetics is just because since you were talking about genetics, like the reason I like the acceptance, like you can go far beyond that. It's just that's an easy term to like state that has a definition that people can go look up.
It's too easy.
But
it
moves in the direction. It starts moving away from a set genome. So, like, yeah, epigenetics is not even the end-all, be-all, end of it. I mean, all that word means is above genetics.
Yeah, I agree.
What's expressed from the genome is still not the end-all, be-all. The protein that is expressed. If you have, like, if you eat something that is an enzyme that destroys that protein, or you eat something that blocks that protein,
you can't produce it. Yeah.
Then you're not going to express it, and more than likely, there will be some sort of feedback loop within the body that will cause like something else to start building up, like the protein to start building up, or like the destroyed components of the protein, to where your body has to learn to either, your body has to survive, has to develop a mechanism to either eliminate it or like probably add a methyl group somewhere to
now
down the line
you're saying all this.
That.
You're saying all this, but I don't understand how that aligns with what you believe in a God.
I was gonna say that's the other can of worms that would open up. Is the reason I believe in a God is because.
Is he a chemist?
I mean, yeah.
He's the ultimate chemist?
Yes.
He would have to be, right?
I mean, the story of Genesis is that he created everything.
The story of Genesis is, that's what that is. There's a lot of other craziness, but go ahead.
Okay, the first like.
Will is just like, what the fuck am I doing now?
No, I'm listening.
But the reason I believe in a God, since you asked.
Yeah, I do wonder. I do really wonder, because you sound like an atheist when you talk.
I mean, just because, like, I accept.
You sound like you don't need a God. You want a God.
That I don't need a God?
Yeah, you sound like a person who doesn't need a God.
Well, so that is why I believe in a God, is because in my entire existence that I'm cognizant of up to this point, which, is at most 31 years.
You're only a year older than me?
Yes.
Holy
but
shit.
in
Will,
31
how old
years.
Are you, Will?
I'm 29.
Whoa. We have a gradient of white people.
Who are all about the same age.
And all hate Jews.
All male. I don't hate
Jews.
I don't hate Jews.
Well, your brother does.
But in those 31 years that I'm cognizant of, which is not even, I don't even remember, I don't really remember, the first 5 years of my life. But
that's it? I don't remember the first 20.
Okay. but in the point, in what I am cognizant of as being the experience of my life, at any given time, there has never been a single time in my life where there wasn't another person. Yeah, there wasn't another consciousness that had a larger, a more expansive consciousness than I did, where I could go whether
What
it
does that
be
mean?
parents, whether it be my parents or a mentor or like
Oh my gosh.
right now the other guys that I
Yeah.
live with who are older than me and have taught me numerous things in like the year that I've lived here. So, they when they tell me stuff that still rings true to me, that it is stuff that they've collected from, usually another teacher. It's usually another teacher that they experienced in their life.
Yeah. This is evolutionary 101, like that we should not question those who have gone through and survived that which was dangerous
Well, it's not that you can't question them
for
because
us. But
when I've spoken
doing
to
what you're doing is you're not questioning it. When you question it, you would find that it's inherently flawed.
that's not true though. Like when
It
every
is
person I
true.
spoke to,
What is true about like the nascent value of a deity? Why is there a deity? What's beyond the deity?
well, I mean, if you ask me what's beyond the deity,
Yeah.
I don't know because there probably either is something or there isn't.
So why not pull that back and just say that without the deity?
Because ultimately what I was getting at is in my experience, even just right now, the person that I've probably learned the most from in my life, that I think I probably learned the most from in my life, that has
Jesus?
imparted the person, well, no, because I still haven't finished reading the New Testament. The person that has personally imparted the most wisdom to me, that has been valuable in my life, is probably my dad,
Okay.
who also created me. And so
That's fair.
from my sphere of
Yeah,
existence,
I understand that.
my dad is
You have
God.
to understand what becomes difficult with that. Any outside force. That for me to dissuade you of that is to attack your father, and I don't want to do that. And this is what happens with a creature who is based in a societal a hierarchy of understanding that we are all within that realm that which you describe of somewhat patriarchy, but also matriarchy. If you do not adhere to your father, you'll never make it to the age of which there is to procreate. I don't want to dismiss anyone's father, and the second you bring that up, it becomes difficult for me to argue against you. I, you can follow whatever you want, believe whatever you want. I I guess I'm lucky enough that for whatever flaws my parents have, and they're religious, and they would probably hate all of this discussion, but it doesn't matter because they, at a young age, told me to just find whatever I believe in and chase it. And so for me, my father and my mother are always going to be ingrained in the fact that they told me to chase the truth, whether they meant that or not. And so I don't care if I dismiss what my current parental, what their entities right now represent. It's what they represented when they imbued this upon me, which was to chase the truth, and the truth never led to a belief in anything. It led to a non-belief. It led to a dismissal of all of this because when I look at this, when I see, oh, just read the books and you'll understand. Yeah, I can see the metaphor. I can see all of that. I can see that in Alice in Wonderland. I can see that in reading Batman books. I can see that in watching Mighty Boosh. I don't need a 2,000-year-old book to tell me how
Right.
my morals should be calibrated. In fact, I know a pretty good philosopher, Daniel Dennett and Sam Harris, both opposing forces when it comes to uh, you know free will, and they both argue points that I enjoy quite immensely, and I will chase after both of those. And maybe I don't agree with one or the other, but I'll always continue to look for it. But I understand that the idea that my father was the originator of my calibration will always be important to me, and I don't want to forget that because, to be honest, that does sound like a scary. It does sound like a scary proposal. Like I don't want to dismiss what they said because what they said like made me live to be 30. I in some ways agree with. Like I don't think I'd made it to be 30 without my parents. Everything about them was always protecting me and nourishing me. But that doesn't mean that I necessarily have to agree with the intrinsic tenets of what they were saying. I understand that even though, to some degree, they say these things, I know what the bigger question was always was question everything, and they couldn't do it. And I have to mutate. I have to. Will's falling asleep.
No.
Yeah, you are.
This is
No, like I have to mutate. If I don't mutate, then there is no progression. And it's sad because sometimes like I butt heads with my parents and I just become quiet when I talk to them and it's rough. I don't know what to say because like without them I'd be nothing and I don't want to disrespect them. But at the same time I try to butt heads with them respectfully without going beyond a certain point. But we just have so far different understandings of the world. They are not atheists, and I do not believe in any God. Once again, I said I was not a theist, an isist at all. So, not being an atheist, yeah, I don't believe in any theist arguments.
that this is the most valuable. This is the most like valuable thing that portion to me of what we've discussed so far, and it's because it's to me the rawest truth
Yeah,
that has come through to me, and so that's ultimately like I don't like that's something that I appreciate being reminded of is to question everything because
yeah,
I will get like I ultimately end up more or less questioning everything to some extent, but I get caught in thought loops where I just
yeah.
ruminate
We all do.
on
We
one
all do.
on one type of thought process uh, until I have to either usually an outside source.
Pushes you away, or you accept it
Well,
as no. I
not
debunk
that
that.
gives well, but it's usually that an outside source either changes the way that I'm thinking about it or provides me with some like a new piece of to me truth that alters the way that I'm
Yeah,
thinking about it. And so
yeah,
like everything you just said, like that's ultimately like as far as like what I believe as far as like I don't I don't, like when you say like belief, do you believe in a god? Like I don't have like a picture of like what God is,
yeah.
but when I hear someone give me truth, and there are times when I'm speaking where it's like it feels like just the right words are coming to me, coming through me, that are affecting a person in such a way that like I'm giving them something valuable,
Yeah.
and so that is basically the best definition I can give of God is that the the passage of like pure unadulterated truth to the point where it like affects like it you know like basically almost like leaves you speechless or something.
Yeah.
And so like yeah, I don't accept everything that my father said, but he provided me with enough truth, and like I've worked to the point where like I'm still realizing things that he told me where like I didn't think too much of it at the time, or didn't
Yep. Yep.
uh,
No.
didn't accept at the time, but I'm like I've hit enough walls in my life and
Yep.
realized that like what he like it's attached to what he was saying. That's like, oh shit, that's what he was trying to tell me. If I had,
No.
I didn't get it until now, but like he was trying to impart this to me 20 years ago, so that I didn't have to go through the last 20 years of X random shit.
But
And
you
so,
would have never known it until you get there. It's the
yeah,
most difficult thing of life is understanding time, right?
yeah, and so like just to go.
Time. Go ahead. Sorry.
All I was gonna say is like just to go to the Bible. Like I'm not gonna preach about it. I'm just
Preach.
basically.
Preach if you want. If you want to preach, preach. Don't fucking stop. Don't fucking stop because I might be offended.
Well,
You need to do what you want to do.
all I'm gonna
Say
say
what
is
you need to
the
say.
way. All I was gonna say is that the way I understand, like in Revelations, like it. I'd have to find the word. I'd have to find the. I'm not gonna. The way that I understood it, which might not ultimately be right. I might come to it later. I might understand it differently. But the way that I understood it in Revelations, it basically says like there are people who don't believe in any. Like there are people who don't believe in anything, but they're following. They're doing all the right things anyways. So it's like it doesn't matter that you believe that the Bible is the ultimate truth, because you're already doing the right things that line up with the like ultimate truths to come out of the Bible, that work, that help other people. So it doesn't matter what you believe, like you're doing it right anyways.
My critique of that is that it inoculates those who think that doing what is in the Bible puts them at the same level of those who are not in the Bible and doing the same things. And what I mean by that is those who are not believing in the Bible and do the same things as those who are doing what's in the Bible, the people who don't believe what's in the Bible are doing it because there are humans who are suffering and they want to solve the problem. And the people who are doing it because it's in the Bible are doing it because they think it gets them into heaven.
I mean, there's.
And so when it's so shitty. Like I don't want to bring this up too much. I donated to Doctors Without Borders 3 days before it was bombed by the United States. I didn't know what to do with myself after that. Like I just stared at like the information, you know. I was like, I just donated. I don't donate to a lot of things, but sometimes I feel compelled. And I was just like,
Yeah.
my $30 matched by the company I work with, $60, does nothing to make up for the lives that were murdered by the
See the vehicle I had to steal to come over and compensate this fat bastard? You see it out there? You see the vehicle I stole? Behind your truck, look. That's what I'm driving now.
Okay.
What are you doing? Are you still online?
It's still going.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All I was gonna say to that is that.
Everything okay?
Yeah, just one of my friends walked in. All I was gonna say to that is that when you like giving your money away to things that you think are productive, like Doctors Without Borders, I agree. Like from everything that I understand that they do, I think that's ultimately productive.
Stop and see Richard. I'll see you in a bit. Bye.
But in giving your money to them so that they can.
There's no ice or anything in my alcohol anymore. Well, I ran out of Coca-Cola. What can I put in this? It's too much.
There's got to be something else you can mix with it. All I was gonna say is giving the money to it, giving to something that personally means something to you because you see the value in what they're doing. That means that money that you had, which like the money itself doesn't do anything. Like if you just have money, that doesn't do. Like there are probably people who apply status to that, but having money doesn't do anything. But if you give money to something that means something to you, then that money has value to you in the sense that you feel like it was used to expand the usefulness of someone else.
It sucks like the week of that your state, your fucking country bombs them, you know what I mean? That's all I meant.
Yeah,
I agree with everything else you just said, but it sucks when your fucking country bombs them, and you're like, I had like posted on Facebook, and Will posted like in response to it. I'm pretty sure, like I remember that, right, Will? When I posted, you like shared it or something.
I don't remember. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you did. It's whatever. I'm pretty sure you shared it or messaged, and then like 3 days later, like the United States bombed it, and I was just like, my taxes.
I don't know if I remember. Yeah.
But then the ultimate thing that I can say to that at this time, because I still don't know the best answer. Like I'm not doing what I still am not putting into practice the things that I think are probably the most productive in the regard of what you're talking about personally.
Right.
And I don't know the best answer to it, but what I can say is that, but giving money is still not the best way of preventing at least in that example, the United States from bombing a charity that helps people. Like if you really wanted to change the world.
I didn't know we were bombing fucking hospitals at the time. Right. But I became acutely aware of it once I started donating to them. Is all I was trying to say.
And that's fantastic.
All I'm saying is like I'm now super aware of that, and it makes me feel so dirty. Like you donate to something, and the second you donate to something, they bomb it. It's like we all live in a bit of a personalized Truman Show, right? Like we all feel like we are the Truman Show, and everyone's watching us. And to some degree, like some people make a joke or light of the NSA watching us because it's fun to them. And they think, isn't it cool that someone's watching us? At the same time, I was like, oh yeah, it's cool. I just donated this group. And then the same week, they got bombed. I was like, and then the next day I found out we bombed them, the United States, and I was torn apart.
Yeah. But I mean,
I expected it to be like ISIS. To wrap back around what you were saying before about ISIS and America. Go ahead.
But to turn around what you're saying about feeling shitty about that situation.
Yeah.
Like I mean, the way that I would view it, like I'd probably feel shitty for a while, but just hearing it from you, the way that I view it as an outsider, is that especially because of the time frame of the events. Like you are now one of the people, and probably because of that bombing, you're now you were one of the people watching Doctors Without Borders, seeing the good they do, and doing something, taking an action to give them more means to do that good. And it seems kind of actually fortunate that the time frame, I guess, was that close, if it had to happen, because
that I donated before we got bombed.
No, but that you donated in such a close time frame that they got bombed. Your money probably, in all likelihood, you know, they probably have some money set aside anyways, but your money contributed to probably whatever they have set aside, so that destruction, they now have the means to rebuild and continue doing their good work. Like you gave them the means to continue, and not just shut their doors and be like, well, fuck, that bomb ruined us, so that's it for Doctors Without Borders. And you still believe in it.
You're right, but there is still a personal level that there were doctors and patients who died who did not need to die. And it's shitty. But you're right that at the same time, like, the money that they got is still important to keep them going.
And you can't, like, there's no way to force someone to believe.
See, he can do this when it's not about the Mormons.
There's no way to make someone, to force someone.
As long as it's not about the Mormons, he can have this whole
to believe
conceptual belief.
But
how much do you love the Mormons? Are you a Mormon lover? Are you a Mormon?
The equivalent of all other human beings. Like,
are you a Mormon though?
Basically, no. Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know all their tenets. But
do you want to have a woman that you could have 3 women? You want to have
probably
3
not.
wives?
Honestly,
you want to have 3 wives?
Honestly, probably not, because it'd probably be like.
How many wives do you want? Will wants 8.
I want 8 wives. Is that? What are you basing that off of?
Are you raising your hand?
I mean, until I can make the first marriage work.
Oh.
I'm gonna go from there. So since I haven't been successful at one marriage, I'm not gonna add on more marriages until I get the first one.
You had a failed marriage before, right?
Well, I mean, like, we're still married, but I mean, yeah, right now.
Marriage? I'm sorry.
We still talk to each other, but like we don't like hate each other. We still talk to each other. We still like are on amicable terms. We're just not.
But you don't want to be married to each other.
Happily married.
You don't want to be married to each other.
I go back and forth about that. Like I don't know how.
But she doesn't want to be married to you. I'm just curious.
I mean, yeah. At this time, she doesn't want to be married to me.
That's weird, right? I don't mean to be rude, but like it often seems in that convenience, right? Like, I'm sorry, I've been through a lot of relationships where the end of the relationship was not my choice, but they made it feel like it was my choice. Oftentimes making me say the words to end it, because I'm not the kind of guy, as you can tell, once I feel like you're saying something, I will say what I think you're saying. So like a girl says, blah, 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 and I'm like, oh, it's over, right? And she's like, yeah, it's over. And then it just ends, and I'm like, okay. I'm pretty sure she made me say that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she didn't want to say it. Like, these girls didn't want to say it. Like, I've been through so many situations where it was left up to me, and maybe it wasn't for you, but all I'm saying is, for me, I've been in this situation where girls didn't want that to be the case. And I've just had to take control and be like, okay, clearly, I don't want to be with you anymore if this is what it means to be with you.
Yeah.
And it's shitty. It sucks.
That's a good thing that, yeah, I mean, regardless, since I don't know the details of the relationship you're describing, from what you're saying, it's ultimately a good thing, though, that you ultimately took the initiative and ended the relationship where it was, so that it didn't become more destructive. Y'all's relationship with each other didn't become more destructive, and y'all didn't
it becomes weird with women, right? Because sometimes confrontation equals them wanting to check out.
Yeah.
And then later they're like, oh, I was just being confrontational. And you're like, Didn't seem like that. Yeah. We're trading on such like fragile ground right now. No one else wants to like back me up, but it's fine.
No, I'm
cool with that.
I don't know what else to add to that though. The only other thing I had to add,
like it's rough, like as a guy to like be in a situation where a girl clearly wants to break up with you, which for the majority of the situations I've been in, I could tell the girl wanted to, but they wanted me to break up with them, is what I'm saying.
mm-hmm.
And then you have to make up a reason. And then they just pick apart what you've done in the last 24 hours, usually thinking they wanted to break up. And you're like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. Whatever you're saying makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas every month, when the good old incident occurs, a lot of women aren't willing to admit that it affects them. But it does.
Mm-hmm.
You guys don't think so?
I mean, I think that it probably does, but there's ultimately, like, if a relationship doesn't work,
Yeah.
and you're even realizing, even if she's not saying it, to the point where it probably, in its current stage, if it keeps going the way it has to end, then there's probably is something that you're doing to contribute to destruction, whether it's like, just in the example of like her being on her period, like if you're cognizant of that, if that is actually the case and you're cognizant of that, you could do stuff to make things easier for her during that time, because men don't have like a period, but they have, they have stuff that affects them that bleeds into relationships, like, finances and shit like that will like fuck with your mind and make you take it out on other people.
Yeah.
Like, personally for me, like, money is something that ends up bleeding into my relationships and causing problems.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you care about money?
I don't care about money specifically, but I care about it in the sense that I'm aware of it, but I still don't know how to fix it internally. Is that I overvalue certainty in like a basic level of living, and so like,
Yeah.
if I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent, then that is destructive to me. Like, it fucks with my mind and it fucks with everything.
Well, Cooper. Well,
What? Oh, how much do I value money?
Yeah.
I would kind of put it the same way Champ just did. I don't really care that much about being rich, but there is a certain value in, being able to get by that's important.
It's weird because I think that a lot of women expect that a lot of men can just provide.
Yeah, and there's some of that too. That there's an expectation of society that the man is supposed to be the provider, and like there are women who, adhere to that to some degree, and like I adhere to that. Like, I don't, I haven't, like, I don't, like, I feel shitty if I, even not just in a romantic relationship. Like, if a friend of mine asks me if they can borrow like $20 for gas or whatever, and like I can't loan them $20, and it's like, that feels shitty to me. It's like, I would like to, if they want to be able to pay their rent or whatever, I would like to do that for them. I don't like not being able to help them in that regard.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But the one other thing I was going to say, like, that ties into all this, that was initially based around the doctors. You mentioned the donating money to Doctors Without Borders, is that even though there's no real way to like force, especially a large group of people, I mean, otherwise, other than I guess being a totalitarian and just personally killing all the people that don't adhere to your strict,
Right.
exactly the way you want things. But on a, doing something like this or going out, joining Doctors Without Borders or another group that like goes and talks to people, or like, probably the most valuable thing for, moving forward would be like being a mentor or like, bigger brother or something like that, where you're involved with people who are younger and just don't have the same experience that you do. And when, because it's probably easier to teach someone something than try and change someone's mind. But like, and when you see them going towards a path where they're like, this kid, like I was like, they play Grand Theft Auto all the time or some Call of Duty or something. They're like, yeah, I want to go kill. I want to go. My dad says that ISIS is evil. I want to go join an army and kill ISIS. And it's like, I mean, you can stop there and tell them, try and impart to them like, would you like it if someone came over and killed your family because we're in the Middle East drone bombing Pakistan? Would you like it if a Pakistani came over and killed your family? No, they wouldn't like that. So it's like, don't kill people. And then, in the monetary side of things, like, if it feels shitty to me that my taxes go towards things I don't like. I mean, and I still, still haven't totally worked that out, but like, if I don't work a job where my taxes are directly taken out and I just voluntarily choose not to pay taxes, then I'm not contributing monetarily to that.
Right.
I mean, again, I still don't have the best answer because, like, I personally don't really have a problem. I personally don't really have a problem contributing in the form of taxes to the government. Like, I think that giving, tithing or giving to organizations like Doctors Without Borders that that you've seen good from them is the best way to do things. And so, if I can figure out a way where I'm not giving money in the form of taxes, and and I actually put my philosophy into action, like, join something like Doctors Without Borders or a group that I like the things that they're doing and want to personally give, personally grow that in doing, then, that's the best way I can think to, like, do it on the scale of one person that I could do. Taking the initiative to find the root source of the problem that caused the bombing of Doctors Without Borders and seeing what you can do on a personal level to help change that.
Okay. I think that's probably a good note to end the episode on. That's a good way to go forward with. I think this has been like 4 hours, so I think we've kind of.
So long.
Yeah,
I think we've talked this.
So.
My God. To be fair, I think we could cut out like this would actually probably be a good episode to cut out because there is good stuff throughout. We could probably cut out if
or cut it into multiple episodes or something.
Yeah, or if you really wanted to cut it down, just cut out like the last 20 or 30 minutes, which is probably like the most valuable stuff, and like publicize
look at an
that
astronaut who's eating too much.
All right. Okay. Well, all right. I think we didn't get to get through the Simpsons, but that's fine.
We never did. Yeah.
We had a lot of good discussion, so I think it's
well.
No, it's fine.
We'll get through an episode one of these days.
Okay.
All right. I'll talk to y'all later. This was mean time. They shared mean times.
What you want? Whiskey hypothesis.
Oh yeah, Chris
had about the mean time.
Hey, I want you on the whiskey hypothesis soon.
You want me?
No, what?
He wants.
I didn't understand what you just said.
The whiskey hypothesis.
Is what Chris's show.
Basically, we drink one night and we.
Do you want to cut off this feed first?
No, I keep going.
Okay.
Advertised.
Okay.
Where we get drunk a little bit, or at least I get drunk and ask you questions, and I'm not like trying to be combative. I'm just like asking you questions, and then the next day we assess what you think about it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, it's a whiskey hypothesis. All right, goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye, everyone. Bye. You're all lovely.
Yeah, everyone is good in some way.